Thought crimes. Thought crimes.
Sensational. Right. Yeah, ho.
Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes. Thought crimes.
Babylon and generation P8 with clean sense, uncommon, can you see straight? Freeze frames by the block in the deep state, deep fake DNA. I'm mobbing with the think tank. Be on the block with the guards where the beats done. What makes it loud for a law, get your beat stung. Freeze frame, make it hard for bombers roll through. That hating energy get barbecue beef bump. You work a third of the day to get the shame. That was out just like the murderers and rapists that you claim. So we burn a little sage, then we raid in your spot.
Get down, nigga, get your motherfucking ass down. What that motherfucking dope at? Fuck, nigga.
Pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime, pull crime. Said he pull crime, pull crime, pull crime, slow crime, slow crime, pull crime. Hey, my nigga, I ain't hating, and my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know everything that they got come from slaves. So why you tryna give me occupation? My nigga, I ain't hating, and my nigga, I ain't lazy. But I know hoagies and some cold-blooded killers, rape, and thieves. So why should I be patient?
I said he pull crime, slow crime, slow crime.
Federal Communications Commission has determined the following content to be emotionally harmful. Snowflakes should not view this content under any circumstances, even if supervised by a G.I. Joe, Navy SEALs, Army vet, or someone with good common sense. The views and opinions expressed, including the depictions of persons of color, corrupt politicians, white people with or without a tan, haters who have yet to brush their teeth typing angrily in the comment section with hot breath syndrome, do not reflect any official policy or position of the U.S. government. This program contains graphic language, dark comedy, unique intelligence, creativity, a high credit score, and high blood pressure when triggered. This program has also been accused of racism, violence, misogyny, mansogyny, feminism, MGTOWism, defacement of celebrities, and of course, being a bully. Welcome to Thought Crimes.
Ladies and gentlemen, another one goes down. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Down goes Curry. Down goes Curry, boys and girls. All right, your heroes are not on television. First and foremost, I would like to say good morning. This is your man P Solo, along here with...
Hey everyone, good morning. This is your girl Sincere, and we have a special guest on the show today.
All right.
Hey y'all, it's
Hey,
your girl
y'all.
Be More.
There you go, right there. Okay, good. Also, say make sure you're speaking directly into it. But yes, too. By the way, look, folks, boys and girls, there's a lot as always taking place. Right now, you guys know we went over the Raquel Lee situation. She's suing right now Disney. And in that process, if you guys recall, we read at least a statement of the complaint in itself from people. And one of the things that was stated is that there was a middle-aged male that kept getting her drunk and having his way with her and taunting her on set. And even the cast members and people within the company of Disney, the Illuminati confirmed that it is, they saw what was going on and they did not care. Come to find out, yesterday, that it was, as the Hollywood Reporter had put out there, that Mark Curry and Raquel Lee had a private settlement that was handled.
In 2015, and that will be one of the topics we're going to be talking about, along with, of course, Mike Jeffries and his RICO that in situations that's happening for trafficking. We also have the conversation with Yaya, Wonder Man, talking about how he feels Marvel and Disney, how they play black characters and black actors when it comes to the superhero genre. And of course what happened to Mahershala as well. But we have to start off real quick with Indiana. They have been with...
One second, Sid. Let me fix your mic. 1 second, love. Let me do this real quick. Hold on, y'all. All right, let's see. Go ahead.
Hello, guys.
There you go. Good. Much better.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie. The mic thing was, I was like, nah, they need to hear your voice. All right. Cool. You can rehash your statements. You got it.
So we're gonna be talking about Mike Jeffries. What's going on with the RICO? He's now mentally well enough to be at trial. We're also gonna be talking about, of course, what Prince said with what's taking place with hanging out with Mr. Cooper. Damn.
I mean, holds a whole different meaning now.
Right. And then also what Yaya was talking about with Marvel and Disney and discrimination with black actors and actresses pertaining to the superhero genre, Mahershala Ali as well. But let's start off first with Indiana. You have black people in Gary, Indiana without any power. You have a lot of people who don't have the resources and things they need. Publicly on the Patreon, again, this is publicly, we had the GoFundMes that people who are local, who are helping the people and the residents of Gary, Indiana. There are GoFundMes that you could support to donate to them and their families for clothes and also for other things that they need. But they have been saying that the federal government and the state government has just been ignoring them. Even the mayor is of Gary is talking about how they just haven't been respected, and how a lot of the residents are paying us so much money to try to get power turned back on, and no dice. So we just want to talk about that first before we get into the other subjects.
Yeah, no, you could go ahead, Sin. I'm going to pull up some information real quick, and then we can continue on.
All right, so one of the audios that I'm going to play for y'all is what's taking place again in Gary about how much residents are paying different their companies pertaining to their electricity, and how they're just simply being ignored. And then I'm going to play from the mayor what he says about his city being neglected as well.
Eddie Milton is the current mayor, real quick, just to put that out there for y'all. So
yes.
Yeah, but go ahead, Sid. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so let me play this, A More Perfect Union, where it's showcasing just the horrors of what's going on in Gary. And they personally feel because Gary has a high black population, this is why they are being ignored and disrespected.
Electricity. I paid $2,500 for power. I'm still out of power 2 weeks later.
NIPSCO full of shit. They ain't did nothing for us.
I'm in Gary, Indiana, a majority black city where tens of thousands of people have been without power for 2 weeks following severe storms.
And I have never seen a storm so devastating in my entire life.
Residents in the region have been outraged with their power company, NIPSCO, Indiana's second largest utility power company that services 1.4 million Hoosiers.
After about day 3, a lot of us were getting worried. Okay, we pay our money, we pay our utility bills, but we have not heard from NIPSCO.
While infrastructure is being developed across the state to support its 125 data centers, somehow this working class community is struggling to get the basic utilities they need restored while having to pay higher rates than ever.
We probably saw like an increase of, I want to say like between 30 and 50% increase in our utility bills.
2 years ago, Blackstone, a private equity firm, bought a nearly 20% equity stake in NIPSCO, and rates have skyrocketed since.
My first NIPSCO bill was $450. My last NIPSCO bill was $2,500. NIPSCO is almost like the price of our rent. They're being very greedy, and our prices are very high, and we're not getting much service.
Why haven't we been made a priority to get our power back? Personally, I think data centers have been made the priority.
Gary is a working class city where the average income is less than $40,000, and it's located in the middle of Data Center Alley. NIPSCO's parent company, NESource, is creating a data center only utility and throwing resources there. Meanwhile, the residents of Gary have been suffering.
In terms of rural areas that house a large black population, a large brown population, making sure that they have power is not exactly high on the list of priorities.
A community that lacks resources, that is a food desert at times, that lacks in the educational system, that lacks resources from government. Why isn't this getting the attention that it truly needs?
I also do think that this is one of the issues where, I think hip-hop media, if you hear it crying in the background, that's just Moon. This is one of the situations where I feel like more hip-hop media should definitely be involved, and more active when it comes to community efforts. What's the point of having a mic if you can't shed any light on people from your community needing help, especially, which just goes back to things that we've been talking about here on Thought Crimes, how people pay their taxes, they pay their bills, they're paying these corporations, and then they're hard workers, working class people, blue collar workers, and when they need the state or the federal government to pull through for them, it doesn't happen. And this is also very frustrating because you have a lot of agencies that are trying to erode independent energy, whether we're talking about farmland being bought up by Bill Gates or farmers being pressured to grow bad seeds or have bad soil, or having their farms being bought up by force. It creates food deserts. People forget one of the reasons why the United States recovered from a agricultural deficit was because of George Washington Carver. You know, he came through with his genius mind and fed the entire country. That type of spirit and that type of energy of looking out for each other is constantly every day being smothered by egos and corporations clicking up together to further enslave and exploit the working class and working class families, especially when it's a very important thing as well, because you know the data centers were already coming into different black communities, or and people were ignoring it until it went into white communities. Then people started talking about it. Now, this is not to say that the recovery process under the Trump administration, when it comes to storms, is good across color lines, because he was also trash in a white area or town in North Carolina. I don't know if it was a flood for them. I think it was a flood, and he never got back really to them to even deal with that situation. So yes, he's trash across the board, this administration, when it comes to storms and natural disasters. But of course, there's always a special type of ignorance when it comes to black people.
Yeah, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to run this clip, and then I'll be back to add some more commentary. Now, you guys know, like I've told you in the past, I do have family in Gary, Indiana, and historically, just from the visits and everything, the city has always been going through a lot. When they felt it was going to, be fully invested and gentrified, or where they wanted to move out the natives, they were all in with new airports. They were trying to run campaigns, and they even got some black spokespeople, try to make it a we the people moment. And you've been having, Gary has been going through this for about 30 plus years. And the reason why I'm making that statement, because it's one of those situations of deindustrialization. So if you want to be honest, like, I don't know, how many people, where you're coming from in the chat, but if you travel from Gary, Indiana, all the way up to what you're seeing in Detroit, you can kind of understand some of the tactics that are being used right now concerning black residents. This is why, if we're talking about Flint, Michigan, again, the Michigan area, it wasn't that far off about what Governor Snyder was able to do and get away with. And again, a lot of folks, they, racists laugh online and whatever. Y'all got to remember, a nation is a network of families. So even if you don't get along with another person or family, or even inherently a group of people, you shouldn't really be laughing at the suffering of a particular region, whether it's the north, south, or whatever, because at some point in time, if you can understand that the government is comfortable with the dehumanization or the lack of basic rights fundamentally, even if we're just talking about water and food and resources, then you should also accept, as a grown man and grown woman, that hurricane will be coming your way, which I've seen over and over. I've seen a lot of people laugh at situations, what has taken place in Detroit in the past, Chicago, and of course Gary, Indiana. But then at the same time, even with Oak Cliff out in Dallas, shouts out to y'all. But then when you saw it move up, when we're talking about the Appalachia, and it hits other folks as well, you guys got to understand the infrastructure in this country through government is not as strong as you think it is. I mean, if you've seen with just Hurricane Katrina, inclement weather pattern can really, fuck up a lot of shit in this country, because it's just standing on toothpicks. Then that's why I said at the beginning of when we was covering what was going on with Doge, and to Sin's point, look, hip hop, I don't look forward to pick the ball up with anywhere. Hopefully they'll talk more about it, but Doge, what they were able to do with those cuts, that does affect FEMA. That affects a lot of different natural resources that can be had to citizens when they're going through these types of disasters. So, and that also include, aid, work, if we're talking about in general funding. As you guys can see across the nation, attendance to different universities, including HBCUs, are down. So, I think sometimes, being on the internet, people kind of be stuck in a second childhood a lot, but these are real people being affected in real life.
Also, can you read the super chats before we go into
Sure.
the video as well?
Yeah, no problem.
I think we have about 3.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was right away. Shouts out to Victory Status. It says, Hood Morning. I like that one. That's actually, I just got him fired right there, man. You might want to trademark that one. I don't know if you came up with that yourself.
Hood Morning cereal.
All right, you gotta be careful because UMG may take it. All right, all right. Also, shouts out to OG Lady. Says I was trying to send a super chat yesterday and it wouldn't let me. But good morning, y'all. I'm wondering about Raven now. I know. We'll get into that a little bit later. We're gonna kind of deal with this subject here. But yeah, yesterday's stream, sensitive topic, but I did re-upload it to our Patreon so you guys will get a chance to check it out. It's uninterrupted, it's clean, precision, and precise as always, folks. Let's see here. The Village Brother says here, off topic, but did y'all see the latest PG Lang vid out? No, I have not. I don't know if Sin's seen it,
It's up on the Patreon publicly, and eventually we'll be talking about it. It's a Kendrick PG Lang featuring Georgia Smith, Baby Keem, Yora, and we definitely will be,
it's a music video?
Checking it out. It's just it's a promo, music.
Getting ready for it.
PG Lang and things like that. So we'll definitely break it down. We'll have a review on it.
So I know he got some coming out that they're going to be re-releasing that Amber Mark song. Shouts out to Ariel Smoke. Says here, same in Memphis. A lot of folks are still without power. Yeah,
and one other one, KJ Forever, who said to add the biggest slap in the face is when the insurance companies bail on the state in order to not pay its customers, which is interesting because the mayor of Gary, Indiana is also talking about that. And then also what Ariel said with his super chat about how Memphis is disrespected. You saw, and this is not attacking LeBron James, but you saw what LeBron said about Memphis. Why would I be in Memphis?
I'm over here with the white boys with the Dockers. Why would I do that? Yeah. I just got my son a Maybach truck.
But insurance companies are there to exploit. Look, the whole system of the United States is a pyramid scheme. This is why you have to help each other. I remember when the flood took place in Houston, Texas, you had to just help each other. There were people who had to help each other out there in Houston because you have government institutions, and then you also had, certain like Osteen celebrity churches not doing shit.
Oh yeah, what she's speaking about is Joel Osteen. At some point in time, was shutting his doors to the Houstonian residents or the residents of Houston when they were looking to seek shelter. And I told you guys a story. I saw with Creflo Dollar. It was thundering real bad, and the people that were repairing his roof, they didn't want to get struck by lightning with the sheet metal. And when they had to come in, he told them, you got to stand against the wall to not mess up the carpet.
And I will say this suggestion for the mayor, even though this suggestion is a very difficult thing to do. Certain states have it a little bit more easier maneuvering room because of some of the hubs having a stronger infrastructure, like Atlanta, or even even if you're talking about like Baltimore or different things like that, where even if you have a situation like with Maryland, where the governor and the mayor of Baltimore have synergy with each other, and there's some duos like that within the United States, right? So it's easier to maneuver. But I would say with the mayor of Indiana, he definitely gonna have to go up against these corporations and companies because he is not being respected. They do not respect the people of Gary, Indiana. They have already showed they don't respect his authority as a public servant to the people of Gary, Indiana as well, which is why he had to go to Don Lemon and other shows. But I also would have to call out white progressive media as well, which is why they get on my nerves with things like this. They pretend to be all awake and awoke. And the only person who's very consistent with this, what's the white guy, Prince with the...
I'm not giving no white man credit.
The blue,
The Humanist Report?
No.
Okay.
He's the one who has like the light blue. He be everywhere with the working class people.
The Coup?
Yes, thank you. Thank
Status,
you, Prince.
yeah.
Status, yes, them.
Yeah.
He's the only one I see who always be in the progressive, who always be in these areas helping. All the rest of them, they just be full of it.
And I want to get back to that. I want to definitely hear what B More got to say too, because KJ Forever says here, my apologies if I sound deaf to Gary's situation. Floridians go through this so much, I agree with you. I do know that, growing up in Georgia, one of the reasons why, I remember even, what was it, Full Sail University. They were like, hey, man, you can get us, I was like, man, I don't want to deal with them hurricanes and shit. But with that being the case, though, that also makes the situation even more pressing. At least there is an open culture, concerning Florida dealing with hurricane or the hurricane seasonal culture. Gary, Indiana, like I said, if we actually, I think we got a few people that are listening from Gary. I will give hats off to Freddie Gibbs because he is supporting financially and using his platform to bring awareness. Because Freddie Gibbs, that is a city as well where he came from, him and his family. So, realistically, I believe going back to the likes of Karen Friedman, I'm going to be honest with you, they've kind of always been like this with Gary, Indiana, just even dealing with sewer situations, dealing with infrastructure, school, education, medical programs that they routinely cut or blacklist the black residents of Gary. And remember, there was an intentional economic implosion with Gary, Indiana, because there was a working class in the 50s and 60s dealing with the steel mill. We're talking about warehouses. And so they had what you call a great grand white flight. There was a great grand white flight. And what they did was systemically, economically implode the city, which was thriving and vibrant at one time. And what they ended up doing was having a lot of corruption, a lot of mafia backdoor situations that they get to use Gary as an outpost. There's a lot of deep, dark syndicate shit that goes on with the arrangement of creating an atmosphere like Gary, Indiana. And then what they don't want to talk to you about, if we get into the other side of the game, is from Chicago, parts of Chicago, Detroit, and even Gary, Indiana, you have real estate gangsters that are selling property to China. In the Midwest and dealing with because and again, like she said, with BlackRock, and I just recall even before BlackRock became a talking point culture or part of the talking point culture, talking head culture, they were selling real estate to international gurus before, like we brought up with Brandy Kane, where they raised the money for Africa Town several times. They met the quota, they met the numbers. They were like Isaiah Thomas for the Dream Team. I met the requirements, and then they still got backdoored for a Ukrainian billionaire that's been buying up property all through Crenshaw and all through South LA as well.
Right. Shout out to Brandy Kane and Billion with the work they do. Also Willie D, who was looking out for the different families that have been dealing with.
Shout out to Willie D. He does a damn good job. I think if anything, he dedicates most of his platform to the type of efforts as well. But I'll run this clip here, and then we'll get back to it and see what B More also she has to say about any of this as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
You lost all your food. It's absolutely ridiculous. This condition is inhumane. It's terrible.
Frustration is growing in northwest Indiana, where thousands are still without power nearly 2 weeks after deadly storms devastated that region. People in the city of Gary are asking for urgent help to get those lights back on. Joining me now, I have the mayor of Gary, Indiana, Mayor Eddie Melton. Sir, thank you for being with me. I know your plate is full right now.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's been nearly 2 weeks since those storms hit. Thousands still in the dark. Give us the lay of the land this morning in Gary and what conditions still look like right now.
Well, residents are still frustrated and upset, furious to say the least. One of the things we're looking at, we're still a little bit under 10,000 residents are still without power. At the height of the storm, we're at 38,000 outages. Gary has a population of 68,000 people. 99 mile an hour straight wind came through northwest Indiana, knocking out 300,000 customers. And Gary is the last community to be brought back online.
Why is that? And has that historically been the case when y'all have seen storms before, sir?
Well, we blame that on aging infrastructure and probably a lack of maintenance, both historically on the utility company around tree trimming, but also on the city itself. I've been mayor 2.5 years, and we made tree trimming a priority. When you look at the photos, you see a significant amount of trees that have been uprooted, something that you can't get around during a storm such of this magnitude, but it's done devastation on homes, cars, and just the entire community over 50 square miles.
I know you have called this process of getting the lights turned back on extremely frustrating and unacceptable. The mayor of neighboring Lake Station had this to say when asked how much the blame falls on the Northern Indiana Public Service Company or NIPSCO. Take a listen.
100%. I mean, I'm going to be straight honest with you. I believe 100% should be put on NIPSCO. They're the ones who are responsible for the lines. They're the ones responsible for any kind of vegetation over these lines. And they've not done their part to maintain that.
Do you agree with him, Mayor? And what is NIPSCO telling you this morning about full power restoration?
Yes, I agree with them 1,000%. It's their infrastructure, it's their grid to maintain and manage and to predict weather of this magnitude. And they need to harden the infrastructure so we don't sustain this in the future moving forward. So right now, what I'm hearing is by Tuesday, there should be 100% restoration throughout the entire Gary. That's past the 2-week mark for us. What we look at when we see this process is, I believe they should have brought in more crews at the beginning of this storm to address the restoration. We had 200 to 300 electric linemen in the beginning, and now we have nearly 700 electrical linemen, in addition to 300 vegetation crews. Now that should have been on the ground on day one.
Earlier this morning in the show, I spoke to a Gary, Indiana resident, Adriana Harris, and now the question, the conversation is also turning to the White House and federal assistance. This is what she had to say.
President Trump, where are you? We're calling for you to call out Gary, Indiana, to assist Gary, Indiana. Why do we not have any type of assistance? They're saying FEMA, we have to wait for all these rules, and it's ridiculous.
Mayor, what are you hearing from this administration, and what's your message to residents across your city this morning who are frustrated and worried?
Right. I've been talking primarily to our governor, who has provided some assistance with boots on the ground with the National Guard. I haven't heard directly from the Trump administration. I've been talking with our U.S. Senator Todd Young, U.S. Congressman Frank Mervan, who has been helpful in driving us and giving us the next steps on the FEMA resources as they come. The city is prepared now to post-storm recovery. We're going to pick up the debris, but still, we're waiting on the guidelines of next steps of the president to move us forward on signing the executive order that declares a natural disaster.
Well, Mayor, we're praying for your community. We hope that lights get turned back on soon. Please keep us posted. I know you have to run, but I do thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and so Bmore, you've been able to take in all this information, and what do you think about it? With the imbalance and residents, and then some of the stuff you kind of touched on with the Dummies Cauldron as well, of what were things to come concerning even the idea of like power grids and stuff, because I do recall you bringing that up several times.
I did. I am going to be wrapping up the research on, because we're like in the middle of eclipse season, so electricity and any type of technological equipment is going to be ghetto for about 6 months to, for some people, up to 2 years. Right? So this is going to be like a major thing with technology, electricity, housing, and also service providers, people that offer these types of service, whether they are taking up all of the electricity, all of the technology, or just not rendering the service properly. Now, the next thing I would say is, like, actually my heart goes out to them, because people don't understand what happens when electricity just goes out and how that's going to impact so many people. I worked in healthcare. When the electricity goes out, that is bad. There are so many people that need it to sustain their living conditions. They need it to actually, depending on what type of stuff they have in the home, to cook their meals. They can't eat any and everything. We have patients and stuff that's on equipment. Now, most of the time, hospitals are kind of set up to have like backup equipment, but it is bad, especially if you send patients home possibly like in between care. They come in outpatient, but they're depending on their own thing to be able to plug their stuff up at night to maintain their care, so they're not forced to be in rehab because we can't we can't guarantee you being fine at home or hospitalization. That's what I think about. I think about that first and foremost. You know, like people who like, and why we would need electricity for multiple things, breathing machines and everything else. So no, that is very just terrible. The second thing I think about too is I was having a conversation with Prince not too long ago, and we were talking about black cities or cities that are predominantly black and how they treat either through poor infrastructure in general, but also weird conversations that they have about
weird social dynamics.
About the city being predominantly black. Most of the time I find that it usually be people that live a different lifestyle. That's the only thing I can say about that. But yeah, we notice that they try to either underfund it. We also see again when you brought up the political corruption, also just blatantly intentionally putting crime in these areas to make it hard for people to manage. And these are, when you do like historical research, you usually find that it's something historically relevant to the black city. So like Baltimore is one of the at some point it was the biggest free black city of free blacks. Like they weren't enslaved, they just a whole bunch of them. The Underground Railroad starts there. And actually it makes the news every time they find a home that ends up being connected to the Underground Railroad. Like, and this is just somebody who is from Baltimore, who's from Maryland. If they find a house that people were able to escape slavery in, it makes the news every single time. I remember this from a kid. Or like any type of thing. Like it becomes the news. Like, guys, we found another landmark for the Underground Railroad. Blah, blah, blah. So no, that really is just like something that I peep too about like destroying infrastructures. There will be a battle again over water, electricity, because they are trying to push these data centers in on people. And this actually remind me of like not too long ago where in PG they try to put a data center in a predominantly black neighborhood and they were not having it. They protested. I think they made the news. I really don't know. I have to go check, but they just weren't with it. So I find it very interesting that the data center is somehow involved in this whole city affair. They're the last city to get their power back on, and it's like, okay, well, on top of them just being mostly black city, like, is it because y'all want to make people so uncomfortable that they don't want to stay so you can put your funky data center up?
That's what it is.
That's what that sounds like to me.
And that you hit it right on the nail, because the data centers are priority number one, even when it comes to the electricity and water resources. So that's why right now you have a situation where humans are not priority number one. The data centers are. And, this is something that the Dummies Cauldron and Thought Crimes have been talking about for a while, which is very important. And then people, even way before us, a long time ago, you have amazing authors that talked about resource wars and also resource wars against the human population. Right now, you're seeing resource wars not only happen in hip hop or the music industry or the movie industry or entertainment. You see resource wars happening in every sector of society. Now, this is what we talk about crony capitalism and what's the problem. The problem, though, in this competition of resources, they are severely cheating. So you're a black farmer, they'll try to undercut you. They try to make things for you to fail from day one.
Yeah.
And then when they set up the sabotage, okay, let's say you keep passing all these sabotage tests, the little funky asses still can't get you. But then, all right, the last execution order, let's send some gang. Out of nowhere, some black gang shoots your farm up, or some stupid, weird accident happens. And this is the problem. The BlackRock, data centers, whatever major corporation you want to talk about, UMG, Sony, Warner Brothers coming together with Stability AI, which, we talked about what was to come. With AI and these music labels where they were pretending to be fighting for the artists, but on this platform we already knew better that they weren't going to do shit but partner up with a lot of these AI companies. But going back to what you were saying, B More, what's your thought process on these AI data centers and other corporations being first served versus the hardworking people?
This is a couple of multiple layered problems. I do think it's disgusting to not pick your people over these corporations. But the other problem is because you are not also valuing the economic growth of said population outside of these corporations and businesses, it puts people into weird dynamics. So like if I need this corporation to stay afloat to keep my economy afloat, or to create a almost like, and I'm just using this in just general concepts, like a artificial boom or bubble to keep the like a natural, based off of our habits, a natural like popping or collapsing. These are like high risk, high reward concepts, and then it puts us in a situation where I have to pick this conglomerate versus Frank, who works 60 hours a week, and his wife has MS, and he takes his kids to soccer or whatever going on, and it puts us in these types of weird situations because the money was funny to begin with. Like, people don't really want to have these conversations. So like, if you keep saying like, and I mean having these like really direct conversations with these people, I know people busy, but if you keep saying like these things are too big to fail or whatever, then why are we all consolidating things that would pad the economy under one giant corporation that's funky to begin with? Something is just not good, clean in a buttermilk. Like, y'all really just have to be practical with that, and that's really what this is giving.
Also, guys, Victory brought up a great point with his super chat when
What'd
he
he say?
said most black cities are also port cities.
Yes.
What do, and then I'll start with you, Prince, because you look like you wanted to say something. Whatever comment you was about to make, you can also
No.
merge it with this.
What's your question?
And then be more. I want you to know your thoughts on this too. It seems like the redlining that they did, they want to undo because they redlined black people into
Port cities,
and also areas that eventually are now
valuable,
the apple of the eye of the tech bros.
Yeah.
And now they're coming up with all these disgusting plans to remove black people now from the very areas that they redlined black people,
relegated them to.
So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, okay, the reason why they do that is really more so how they value black bodies and how they devalue black bodies whatever land they live on. Remember, let me give you an example, right? So you remember when he was talking about, you remember the stories that was coming out of Atlanta, the one black couple, they did an experiment where they went and got a white appraiser for the home, and they severely devalued the home and the land on the market, versus when they went and found somebody that was black to appraise the property, and then I think like another third party situation. It's really because wherever black people are congregating, they're going to devalue the price of the land. Okay, that's what they're going to do. And so what happens is you'll have out-of-towners, whether they're from New York or whether they're from Los Angeles, they'll come in, and we're talking about, even the foreign billionaires like we talked about with Brandy Kane and Billion, right? But you've seen it in Atlanta, you've seen it in Jersey, you've seen it in New York, you've seen it in Baltimore, you've seen it in different parts of Virginia as well. So what they do is they're able to come in and quote unquote buy the homes, the ugly homes, for $1. And then what they'll do is they'll turn around, because you've seen around the area of Hamilton homes. They had the whole signs and buy the ugly home for $3. And then they turn around and they build these high-rise condos. In some cases, they built these penthouses. And so it's really having to do with it's cheap real estate. They don't see any equity there. And this has been the theme going on in Gary, Indiana for a very long time. They've even had situations where, like, I've seen it personally, just even visiting folks out there, that you had old black women had to fight off corporations, or people kept coming back and say, look, man, we'll buy your home for $25,000. Okay, you got us. We'll buy it for $30,000. And they'll say, no, this house has been in my family's generations for almost in some cases up to 100 years in some cases, depending on where the family originally starts at. So it's really more so to it's kind of like they doing like what we'll see in hip hop. People are selling off things for cheap, right? So they'll sell off your catalog, they sell off your IP. Even remember, there was a period, especially for black millennials, there was a period where people were quietly selling their IPs to some of these companies that was coming through and just buying YouTube channels for cheap. Now, who would have thought, first of all, you shouldn't be selling your stuff like that, unless you built up some sort of property that you like, this is sellable, I'm just flipping, because you do have people that they IP trap. But who would have thought that they were going to be using that information for data scraping later on with AI? And this is why they were buying everything pennies on the dollar. So usually it has to do with how black people are severely devalued wherever they go. And then what you'll have is the corporations know that you can devalue anything pertaining to black life, medical, education, real estate, and they buy it for pennies on the dollar a lot of times. And then what they do is just they inflate the resale value.
They first of all, they also scare tactics. They always use violence as a scare tactic for black people to leave prime golden real estate or golden areas. I wouldn't be leaving Gary, Indiana. They're trying to make it difficult for black people to stay in Gary, Indiana on purpose because they want the area. And a lot of black Americans are going to have to figure out how to work together to stay in these areas that are, again, the apple of the eye of the tech bros and different things like that, and also welcoming black talent around the entire United States to come in and for people to build their own infrastructure. It's really bad when people don't know that they're in competition when they're in competition.
Oh, yeah.
And you would think, these people who have all this power, all this money, you would think they would play fair, but they got all this money and power by not playing fair. So why would they stop doing those same tactics right now? So there's a lot of fair tactics that have been used, and they're gonna rev it up for black people to flee and leave these areas.
They've been doing that for a long time.
That they really want. And again, these are the areas that black people,
a
lot of them were redlined in. So if people remember even with FDR and the suburbs was created, the New Deal and all this other stuff, and white people were claiming they want to move as far away from, the colored people as much as possible, right? While still being in colored people's faces at the time, right? Well, now those areas, they're not popping. And also, the areas that have the most resources are ironically the areas that they redline black people in. So I think that it's going to be very important for black people to come up with a plan to come together to rectify the situation. And we do need stronger leadership, absolutely. I do think that you're going to lead some strong mayors and governors and council members where they're not going to back down, and they also know what is at stake as well. You need, first of all, when I don't personally believe there's a deficit in black people understanding technology. Like we said before on this platform, we've traveled around the United States. We've been to a lot of hubs where there are a lot of independent black people who are just really damn smart. They have their own companies and brands, and a lot of them even in technology. Even when we went to, We Buy Black in Atlanta, a lot of intelligent people there. So it's going to be interesting to see, can these black areas come together with resources to create their own infrastructure and hubs while also having security to not be sabotaged when it comes to magically, again, with gang violence or certain groups being activated at the wrong time to try to tear these areas apart.
Yeah, you guys got to understand, and there's been some fights that has been taking place, even internally with Gary, Indiana politics, just like any other city. One of the things that is very strong as a weapon is the political culture, but also the dark side of it, as corrupt or no, as downtrodden a situation can be, there's always a corrupt rooster that's going to come in to steal some stuff too. And that has been something that, we've seen in Gary, that we've seen even in Atlanta, even though they were like, well, we're going to lock out white politicians, but you still got to evict, corrupt black politicians. So, with that being the case, Sid and I, we're going to continue to, post some more information about this. Unless, Beamer, you had anything else you want to say?
Yes, I did. I did want to respond to just some of the statements in the chat. So I think someone asked, like, why is all of the black cities port cities? I'm from a port city, so I actually could tell you some history about why a lot of black cities are port cities. One big part of it is through the transatlantic slave trade, because it's easier to transport this is human trafficking. So, and I refer to it as that every time people get cute, because they want to leave black people out of the trafficking conversation because they have behavioral problems and are weird. So I'm like, no, the human trafficking of black Americans, they were transported through water at first. So that's one reason. The second reason is also through working. It's something that black people do all the time. Hey, I'm about to go over to Georgia. I'm about to head up to New York to work. The easiest way to do that is by way of water. So these people are going to live there. Also, there used to be how port cities naturally work. There is a lot of work to do around the port city. Ships dock in, they come in, they need people to clean, they need people to sometimes be like cabin boys or serving
for
them
cheap labor.
Yes, or sometimes they need to get
absolutely.
a crew together very quickly. And if you have experience tending to a ship, you can get on. And I'm not even talking about like 1700s Pirates of the Caribbean ships. These are like any type of ship. If you understand how to run a ship, it's easy. Like, so in Baltimore, can you fish? Can you crab? Maybe you get hired on a crabbing ship. Maybe you get hired to clean up. There's military ships, because there's a lot of military stuff out here in Maryland. So you're going to be working there. The next thing is also building ships. Black Americans were some of the main groups of people building ships. So if you are from Maryland, if you're familiar with Sparrows Point, if your granddaddy or grandmama worked down at Sparrows Point, Harvard de Grace, all of these places are where they built ships. And matter of fact, we were so good at building ships, they sent us down to Haiti to rebuild the ships. We actually were setting up some powerful trades down there. There are descendants of black Americans that live in Haiti. That's why when people start some of these diaspora wars, it's be kind of a little weird, because I'm like, some of y'all, I know y'all history, and y'all actually might be part of the group that y'all, whether y'all know it or not know it, like y'all are actually kissing cousins. But we're going to move on. But yes, they were so good. And actually that port city in Haiti got destroyed due to jealousy, because they were so good at business. So those are a few reasons, not just the slavery and the slave trade. And if you also from Maryland, from Baltimore, we also know like part of places where they used to sell slaves, like Lexington Market. They used to literally walk y'all up there and sell people. Sometimes also slaves will go there to sell goods of their owners. So no, big part of it is maritime trade, but also moving. I hopped on a ship. I'm about to go 2 or 3 hours down this way, not just for entertainment, but for work. The next thing I would say, this kind of changed around the 1820s, because we see the advent in the technology of trains. So if you're from Maryland, you get the B&O Railroad, the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. That changed everything, because now we don't have to wait for ships to dock for us to go from place to place. Now we can just get on a train. And by 1840, over 22 states have already had railroad tracks. So we really don't have to do so much of the same thing. So then this is when you start to get closer to sometimes that iconography where you see people hopping railroads to find work, and you see that almost going all the way up to 1930 around the Great Depression. Like when you see those movies and they're hopping on these tracks, and they're running from illegally hopping on trains to like ride for free, but they're going from state to state to look for work. That changed a lot, because again, the main transportation from state to state started to shift from these boats and then having to use horses in between, to then we're using trains in between. So hopefully that will help with people who like, why is the port cities? Yeah, that's why.
No, you're not wrong at it, because I had several uncles that were porters, and A lot of black people, like she stated here, like B More is breaking down, look, I mean, a lot of our uncles and grandmamas, granddaddies, they had to deal with traveling. Even still to the day, I cannot tell you how many black people were like, bro, I will travel to Texas to work. I will travel. I've seen, they're the most transient people when it comes to careers, because it's kind of, foundationally, it's kind of always started out that way. And even if you're talking about historically, remember, black people were the first cartographers. They were the first ones to circumnavigate the globe. One of the reasons why you see the early designs of mapping in this country, even going all the way up to Antarctica, because of black people. So it's a long, rich history, which is why there's a lot of times so much obsessive, combative, enviable energy towards black people. So black people, okay, you say, you guys can't live in this community. Y'all got to go form your own thing. Okay, they form their own thing. You know what comes with black people? Culture, right? Popularity, commerce, things of that nature. Then so what happens is you have people that come in and they're like, well, I want a piece of this land now. I want in like Christopher Walken from King of New York.
After the land is developed. And so this is where I have to be, where people have to just remember who they are and the things that come with them. So my point is this. Would it make sense to buy a very expensive, because again, buying humans is not cheap, a very expensive slave who's also a freaking idiot and would probably not be able to build anything, no skills, can't do nothing, right? Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't. These people are a skilled labor class. So what happens when the skilled labor class becomes free? They start using their skills to build other things. That is a problem.
So if most of your cities quickly.
There you go. If most of your skills have been basically relinquished into quote unquote the wild, and you have little to no control of it. So when they're building their own cities, all this other stuff, you don't have any control of that. So now the next thing we have to ramp up with the control is just like overrunning their cities, trying to bully them out of the situation where they already set up these infrastructures. And I'm not about the people who are like, oh, we want to argue about it. I'm not, because there's historical documents about it. You can fight with a piece of paper. I'm not doing that. So realistically, that is what has happened time and time again. Black Americans have been a skilled labor class, and they've also been sent internationally to different countries, like the example I used with Haiti, or the example with Libya, or even Ethiopia when they aided them in fighting off in World War II. I was actually having this conversation with, this was years ago, with my coworker. She was Kenyan. She was like, I didn't know y'all was on that. I'm like, yeah, we actually was just be outside. Like if it was a boat, we was on it and we was just helping people, and we would either come back, or some people would just live there indefinitely or forever. But yeah, like that's just how it is. So don't try to have people tell you like you can't do nothing, but I keep seeing your crinkly fingers stealing. So like if it's, people don't steal things that are worthless, like unless you have like, what is that compulsive theft thing they have. Most people don't have that. You're over here because you see something valuable and you're covetous. So there's I'm just gonna say, so there's that, and I just want y'all to keep that in mind. Any other questions about working class, black history, black people, port cities, why black people are on port cities mostly, like anything from like what is it, Africatown and Alabama, like all these little different places. This is why you're on the port city, because also being able to give the labor and the work. And
kleptomaniac.
Yes, kleptomaniac. Thank you.
High power.
Yeah. Shouts out to high power.
The other thing I wanted to touch on is, with like some of this stuff with the things, you guys don't let people steamroll over you with the resources, because this is going to be something that's not a short kind of conversation. This is a long-term conversation about whether you deserve clean water or not. I'm telling you right now, put up resistance. Okay? When I look at some of how the stuff is set up, put up resistance. And I would say this to anybody, no matter what background they're from. Do not let these people destroy the environment for some funky technology that got Will Smith eating spaghetti crazy. Please.
And also for other groups who are listening, they're going to come for you too. So
please.
Don't let them put water on the stock market.
If it happened there, it can happen here. And that is very important, because it'll be setting these
depopulation.
And just to be clear, I know how the media is, and you're talking about mainstream media, because Trump is a gangster, and a lot of these, larger corporations and these news shows, news stations, they're scared, because you've seen what happened with 60 Minutes. Look, you all, what they were doing with quote unquote Doge, they said in some aspects, some of those facilities and those jobs that were shut down and set up or removed out of the way, they said it's going to take several generations to try to bring these things back because you're talking about the struggle with bureaucracy. People are like, oh no, they can do that shit right away. Not if you're talking about the left wing and the right wing when they got to do their little bullshit dance for the next 20
The
years.
Democrats and the Republicans agree on a lot of things. Like Venezuela, that was for more resources.
One thing they don't agree on is empowering United States citizens.
No,
all right? And so they're gonna all of a sudden we can't come together to figure it out. But when it comes to sending more funding out, like you stated with Venezuela, Israel, what's been going on in Gaza, man, they can come right to it right away because the lobbyists are in the room to enforce. And hey, man, we know you touched them boys. Let's get going. All right.
Yeah, it's an elaborate plan for land acquisition, resources. They're doing it by force. Yeah. Just make sure there's certain things. If you let them steamroll, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, water, electricity, I gotta stop this.
Non-negotiable.
Because if you let them get away with this, you might as well just.
Also,
that's end game right there.
Pay attention to the propaganda that's going to continue to flood out, so you can kind of know where they're going to be going. Usually, they send some idiot out like the Mexican Nick Fuentes, and then they get some sort of beige, blackish, like whatever the big nose little dude, the one that's the FBI. He said he worked as a Fed or whatever. They usually try to steamroll propaganda out there. That's why they have constant anti-black propaganda, because it's a part of the devaluing process. I want people to understand that.
Tater Tot brothers.
Yeah, the tater tot. Well, the only thing I was just saying, that's why they keep the gender wars going at the end of the day. So they want constant devaluation, and it bleeds into racial epigenetics. Go ahead, B-More.
Oh, and this will be my last statement about this. So the last thing I'll say too, and this is just, tip, y'all can take it, leave it, I don't care. But when people start to sell skills in certain ways where they are irrevocably removed from them, it is not wise, okay? This is the best way I can describe it chart-wise. Everyone is born with a certain, like a skill set, usually somehow related to families. And traditionally in the olden world, people's skill set usually is some type of skill that the family has taught them. They all are like this. This is also why people have skill set last names. So Porter, Baker, Parker. So like for instance, Parker is a person who will guard a large lot of land, or a park, like as like think of it as like a security guy, or a baker is literally a baker, like a porter or a carter is Carter is like someone who would transport things by way of cart. These are last names that are done by way of trade. When I see certain people start to sell things that are intrinsically a deep impacted skill in a way that they're irrevocably separated from because, I don't know, greed, whatever, I don't know. That makes no sense because it starts to, sometimes people basically, and this is, I'm going to just cut short. Sometimes y'all have money problems that persist long term than the short term because you're selling a skill that is yours to begin with that you can use to make money at any point in time. And that's the best way I can use to describe it. So like if the family, and this is sometimes be random, like when people say I have money problems, be more help me. Okay, where's the skill? Oh, I can bake a apple cobbler really well. Okay, so out of curiosity, is this something that your whole family can do? Yes, my mom can bake, my grandmother can bake. Actually, I got the recipe from my great grandmother. Okay, that is an intrinsic skill. Now then you can then use that skill to, I don't know, sell pies out of your house and you will make money. Now if you sell the recipe, you will no longer have that ability to sell that said skill because that's a skill that you got from your great grandmother through the intrinsic labor work. Hopefully that makes sense. So when I see in this situation people do stuff like that, that makes no sense. There's a lot of groups of people that intrinsically just sell a skill that they've acquired through their family all the time. Some of how these people have done things through the modernization and sometimes transits, most people aren't like a family of a certain career field, like a family business, that's traditionally how things work, and charts are still set up that way. But sometimes now the people can just do things that they kind of like curve, jump left, and they don't necessarily work a trade or work a skill set that's actually a natural talent that can be monetized on their own by however way they're going to do that, whether it's through higher education or not. It's just a little bit different now, but I'm just telling y'all this as a peep. So when you start seeing people selling like no offense, Little Beep Beep done sold something, and I would not be shocked if I looked at it as an intrinsic skill that he had. But just for you guys who are listening, try not to sell skills off like that, and really think about, is it something that you want to continue to pass down to family members for them to monetize on their own? Do I have skills that are unmonetized that is a trait that I probably learned pre-existing outside of what I go to school for? Because sometimes you're not broke, sometimes you're underutilized, and your skills and talents and assets that are naturally occurring. There you go.
Also, just a quick news letting y'all know that Krispy Kreme stock has crashed more than 90%.
Oh man, not the Nazi donuts.
A private equity firm bought the company in 2016.
What did I tell y'all?
And decided that instead of making fresh donuts in every store, they would produce them in a single location and ship them out to the stores.
Man.
This is also something that, what happened to Panera Bread. And then also
Panera was always nasty to me.
And then what happened to Primal Kitchen, they sold their company to Kraft, and now they're failing a lot of the health tests when it comes to the purity of their products.
Remember, we talked
private
about that.
equity firms also are running rampant in hip hop and everywhere else.
Well, if you guys don't know, just to be clear, statistically, anytime a private equity or black firm, they pretty much black farm, but anytime they get a chance to get a hold of a traditionally thriving or a popular brand, but then they get in there, they always mess it up. So now, instead of you watching the robots get a chance to make the donuts, right? They said, well, we're going to send them out stale, like we send out Oscar Mayer.
Y'all eating stale donuts.
And I'm not interested.
With chemical glaze on it.
I only tolerated the nasty donuts because they were fresh. All right? So, again, across from downtown, man, that's crazy. Not necessarily surprised, but you guys know that's what actually happened to Netflix. You get what I'm saying? And Mr. says you're on your own with that Panera Bread opinion piece solo. Shouts out to you, Mr.
I was gonna say the same thing, Mr. But I was like, let
it is nasty.
Prince fly. No, when it was
it says seasoned Chipotle.
Before
Stop it.
It was sold.
Yeah.
Before that, he sold it to a major corporation.
When did he sell it?
I can't remember what year.
Was it before COVID?
But I'm gonna look it up. But when he was following, remember
because when I ate it must
he
have
had fresh baked goods that was baked directly.
When
early Panera Bread, it was fresh baked breads.
Yeah.
And he wanted to come up with a different type of franchise for fast foods where it wasn't fast food, where it was supposed to be more healthy for the body. What happened is he ended up selling it, and instead of making the breads and a lot of the food fresh,
right,
they then started to do like what Krispy Kreme did in 2016, where they will only have one factory headquarters that will make the bread, and then they will ship it to different other areas where other Panera Breads was. And then on top of that, that's also when 2 people died, not because of the bread, but that's when they started to do the hyper caffeinated teas and stuff, where 2 people who have heart conditions had died of a heart attack. Although when Panera Bread switched over to their new owners, I wasn't messing with them no more anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
But before
when did you take me? Because I only ate there.
I took Panera Bread when it first opened up.
When you took me?
No, not you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When did we? Because I thought we ate after COVID.
I go when places first open up
this
because
shit overrated.
That's when it's the best. A lot of times, unfortunately, with any franchise, if the longer it's been around, eventually it's going to get sold to some badass company and be ran in a shitty manner, and quality and products go down.
I was like, it must be like an East Coast thing, because Panera Bread. I mean, when I ate there, because I only ate there one time with Sin, I was like, it's kind of overrated.
But Prince, you do kind of like you like to eat like like basic stuff. Like,
do you don't think Panera's basic?
No,
it kind of is. That's
it's basic.
No,
you trying to play me like it's a fancy, exotic restaurant.
He's about to do this again.
It's not doing anything. It's
I'm not talking about that. Yeah. You eat even more basic.
Dried bread.
Prince eat more basic than Panera bread, which is why this is funny.
Wait.
The
basic bread I eat was better than Panera.
B-Boy can speak to this too. Prince eat even way more basic than Panera bread.
I have a strict diet,
which is why this is funny. Nobody's talking about fancy or exotic because it's hard to even get you to even go there. That's not even what I'm talking about.
I gotta take you to some soul restaurants.
I was talking about Prince eat even more basic than Panera bread, which is why it's funny that he's talking about Panera bread.
It is basic,
even before
it's a hey soul sister. The way you move.
Okay.
Yeah.
I personally feel I've eaten at Panera Bread. I personally feel like Panera Bread is like one step up from Subway. It's like you want a sandwich and soup, but you don't want a Subway sandwich and soup. Right. So then you go to Panera.
So you say it's a bloated Blimpies?
Before
it's fancy because you could sit down and eat with a plate, and I guess it's giving that.
It's because they got maroon colors in there.
Why Prince, listen. Prince eat more basic than Panera bread.
I will.
Yes, he does.
Yeah. He eats way more, and he trying to be slick. Oh, you say the exotic. You know what the fuck I was talking about.
I'm not paying for Panera bread.
I was not talking about no damn sushi. You know I wasn't talking about nothing exotic.
Real quick,
wait. Before you get down with what you about to get down with, you know damn well I wasn't talking about no fancy restaurants.
I know what you mean.
And you know I wasn't talking about exotic food.
It's money.
I was just talking about the fact that you eat more basic than Panera bread.
And you know that's why I should have came up with Panera bread.
What you would have did?
It sold the same shit but better. I felt it was just money wasted. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, man, we really could have just went somewhere else then.
I also do agree with saying Prince is a standard American eater. Like he like Americana fare, like Americana food. He mess with all the way.
All the way.
Now I'm not going to say.
Now when they do exotic stuff at home. But that's because I don't trust other people's cooking.
He is a plain Jane.
I don't trust people. I'm gonna let
Jane
B-Boy continue, but I don't trust other people's cooking.
Yeah, he's like very Americana, like hot dogs, yes, hamburger, yes. We'll eat salads, right? Or like greens and stuff. Pizza, yes. You see, like very Americana,
very plain Jane.
Panera, no
food.
Jane.
Like this is very American.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
very American.
All right, man, this bread is scratching my throat.
Oh, beautiful for spacious. Yeah, it's giving that. Like, and I'm not saying he will not eat it, but you would have to Prince's point, you would have to make it at home.
I'm like, y'all can make it.
Yeah, no, he
just
would
go
not.
online and get the recipe.
He do not like.
I don't want to go there.
He barely like eating Chinese food, and Chinese that we have in America is an American invention. It's not real Chinese food.
It's too greasy.
It's too greasy.
But it's an American version of Chinese. So like even the Chinese food you get from the takeout is like it's still Americana.
They said allegedly that in certain if you in a low income area, don't eat at no Chinese restaurants because they be like
open the box. It's asbestos in there.
But
make you feel like you got asthma.
Prince did go to a Chinese restaurant. Yeah. This is before him and I ever met because it wouldn't have been me. But he went to a Chinese restaurant and before he drunk,
the spirit said, "Nigga, open the cup."
Before he drunk the tea, he wanted to see what was in the cup first, and it was a big roach in there.
Oh my God!
It was a spirit. And I kid you guys not. When I sat down to get my meal, something said, "Nigga, open the cup." I said, "All right, let me open the cup." And there was a huge cockroach floating dead. And I thank my ancestors.
Thank you, ancestors.
I thank them.
But I think it traumatized Prince. Prince is traumatized because he went to some dusty Chinese restaurant.
It wasn't dusty.
Had a big. It's it's dusty.
Hold on,
it has a big cockroach in the tea.
Let me tell you why.
How is it not dusty?
Let me get Sin on this one. This will be a restaurant that was immaculate and clean, and
immaculate and clean with a dead roach in it.
You see the rest of no. Let me tell you. Let me finish my point.
Please stop the cab.
All right, let me finish my point here. This wasn't in no project neighborhood. This was not in no backwoods. It wasn't in no SWATs. It wasn't even down in the Delta.
What kind of area was it?
It was an
area that has cockroaches and
like general type of area.
Like almost damn near like a bit of an upscale area.
Wow.
It's still roach tea.
That's why I listen to my. That's why I listen to my spirit.
Can I say this?
No. This is why I listen to my spirit.
Don't worry, Sam. He cut me off too.
I did not cut you off.
Let me just say this.
No, I'm just saying.
If there's a big ass roach in the tea, it's not upscale to me.
All right,
okay?
but that's why
it's a dead roach society.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about the visuals. People going in there. That's why people go. Even you from the East Coast. Look at all them fancy restaurants where they got people. They got people up there getting sick.
That possum.
Yeah, so that's what it was, and so after that, no. That's why I don't do the restaurants like that. I mean, Sam found a Dominican cockroach in her restaurant.
Wait a minute.
Where was okay?
Wait, before we get to my story, I got
a question.
I want to say this real quick with Prince. Yeah. You see that he admitted he was traumatized.
Yeah, I ain't doing no
and
restaurants.
Now you see why he don't. That's why he only.
You getting on me?
Wait. That's
I
why
don't trust him.
He keep everything simple.
Yeah.
Because he went to.
And if it's fancy, let be more simple.
He went to a restaurant, and it had a Chinese restaurant had a big cockroach in the tea. Fine, bet. Now the story he talks about is I've never really had that experience. Excuse me, where going to a restaurant and there's a big cockroach or anything in my drink. But I did try to experiment one time with a Dominican restaurant. Shout out to Dominicans and Dominican Republic and all that. But I would never buy any no meal from
What kind of
Dominican
food
Republic.
do they sell? Because I've never had Dominican
What
food.
happened was I didn't even go to the restaurant. I'm usually a restaurant person, but I just ordered in. This is when I was in Jersey City. So I had ordered a Dominican meal for Prince and I to try, because I like to try all different types of things from around the world. So
when she did, I was like,
but
here we go.
I didn't. Right when I opened it up, I didn't eat anything, by the way. So nothing was eaten, nothing was drunk, none of that.
So this was fresh upon your arrival.
Yeah, fresh upon arrival. So I have really good eyes, by the way. I see, my vision is pretty good. So, I was like, wait a minute. I took it out the bag. I said, something's off with this meal.
Really? Before you opened it?
It was a
so when you opened the bag and you pulled out the little container,
salad, yeah,
you felt something spiritually was off.
Right, and then I saw a brown German roach. They call it a German cockroach. I saw.
You know what? Y'all got the animal whisper thing, because y'all keep feeling the bugs and the roaches.
I threw it. Not only did I throw it away, I had called up DoorDash, and I said, you need to remove this restaurant, because they got fucking dirty roaches in their restaurant. They're like, what were you doing?
Could have just cooked at home.
What if we was cooking at that time too, on and off.
Was it removed when you went back on there?
No, they kept that dirty.
Somebody else got a German roach.
But I will say, I still love people from around the world, but I have not messed with no Dominican restaurant.
A Dominican German roach.
And it was the only so far it's the only Caribbean area where I had that experience.
A bug problem.
When I ate at Jamaican restaurants, no issues. Cuban, no issues. So on and so forth, no issues. But Dominicans, I'm sorry guys, but that's a strike. That's a big strike. You know?
KJ said y'all be ordering off of spirit sides too much. That's funny.
That's funny.
Panera bread is a bougie Subway. I can see that.
Yeah, well, there's not anymore. Remember, it was nice before if you wanted something simple and healthy and quick. But it's been trash for a long time, Panera bread. But Beamer and I experiment with a lot of different ethnic foods. You know, it's difficult to get Prince to.
I'm not doing that. I said y'all can cook it. Y'all got it. Just find the recipe. Beamer's real good at it.
I remember one time.
I don't want to be bothered.
Even when we was going to restaurants, eating out a lot, or when we would come back we'll be like, "Oh, Prince, what do you want?" Pizza.
Yeah.
That's it.
like, well, that's it.
Yeah, that's
Yup.
Give me a
Fries.
cheese, right? Cheese. Give me cheese pizza. Oh, give me some fries.
And a drink.
And a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me that. You don't want no blah blah blah.
No.
I don't want that. Just give me a pizza and some fries on the side.
That's it.
And that's it. Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, no, I like it when they know, because when people cook at home, because people, they always come up with new recipes. Even if it sounds crazy, I trust it. I mean, I ain't trusting none of that. A German cockroach popped out of something that was basic as a Dominican salad.
I will admit, cooking home is definitely the best.
It is beat.
It is. It beats everything else for
That's
sure.
how I grew up too. Because when I used to go to a friend's house and they're like, "Yo, my mama cooking. You want some?" I was like, "Nah, I gotta go." Because I didn't.
Also, this before the roach trauma.
Yeah.
This was just a behavior.
Yeah, because my mother used to be like, "Bro, why you don't eat at everybody else's home?"
Whoa, I gotta call Cap on this though, Prince.
What's that say?
You ate a lot of my relatives' food.
Yeah, they can cook.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. I mean,
right.
I'm not gonna go through your people's names, but the aunties can cook, you know. But outside of that, man, I went over one nigga house. He gonna tell me, "Oh, my mom about to make some chili." I get in there, it's noodles hanging out. I'm like,
spaghetti.
I said, "Is that chili?" It was like, "Yeah." I said, "It's not chili." And he arguing with me. It is chili. What you talking about? What you say about my mama's? And I left because that's his mama. So what we gonna do? We gonna fight in front of the PlayStation?
Why you missing that man's mother cooking? Talk about why his
Well, they
noodles.
did lie.
No,
Yeah.
but he said why his noodles.
It's true.
It's not chili.
Now moving on to
B-Mo, you had anything else you wanted to say about the Panera bread?
Oh yeah.
No, just rest in peace, Krispy Kreme. They can't even pull in a parking lot and watch my donut get made.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I actually remember the last time I pulled into a Krispy Kreme and watched my donut get made.
Yeah.
In a thing. That's so annoying.
Yeah, no, that's
Like y'all be ruining everything. Like Americana is going down, bro. Like
It is.
y'all are
It started-
ruining classic Americana. Like I don't know what's y'all problem.
It started when they closed down the music stores and the malls too.
the
By the way,
diners too. Remember, Americana, them diners were important. I
Yeah.
do miss the diners. Like a lot of the diners also was closing down in Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
Some of these diners were nice too.
I know. I had some of my favorite diners and restaurants closing. I'm like, and COVID whooped a lot of people's tails. I'm like, dang,
COVID
y'all.
destroyed one of my favorite diners in Jersey. We could go there at 1 a.m,
Yeah.
just eat and chill.
Have an orange soda.
And 2020 took out a lot of
the
people.
dope stuff. I'm like, boo.
But it didn't take out none of the people we don't like.
Yeah, none of the nasty food.
Restaurants.
The nasty, and then the food that wasn't nasty got nastier. Lord help us.
They actually got stronger too.
The diseases got stronger. The eggs got dirty and salmonella. I'm like, y'all are just turning it
one
up.
last thing, Dominicans, y'all gotta talk to us here on Thought Crimes, because is that why y'all be calling people roaches so much? Because y'all be seeing roaches a lot.
Oh, they be starting like that.
No, because they be
I
like,
thought that was like just
like,
a New York
Dominican
thing.
be like, you a
No.
roach.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
because Cardi B did it publicly, and then Black Americans who don't live in New York said, "You
I
being,
don't.
what's
That's
that?
weird.
What's
They
that
said,
supposed to
why you
mean?"
use a
What you
roach for
mean?
everything?
She said, "That's just how I talk. Y'all cockroach."
All right. Anything else before we go to? We're about to have to go to Mark Curry and Michael Jeffries. Any other thing y'all want to say before we go into that?
It's a sign of America shutting down.
I know.
But yeah, wrap it up with Krispy Kreme. I suspected someone they was doing bullshit like this, putting Pokemon all over everything.
Ew. And I'm sure them donuts look crazy colored.
Yeah, they were with all them R40s, red 40s, and yellows, and all that type of stuff. But anyway, yes, Mark Curry. Let me pull this up real quick. The Hollywood Reporter. Cindy and I, we did cover this yesterday, and there was supposed to be there is a lawsuit right now. Again, Raquel Lee is suing Disney. Now, what was not brought up at that time, ladies and gents, is that Raquel Lee reached secret settlement with Mark Curry years before suing Disney over alleged abuse. All right, it says the 2015 private resolution between the actors has surfaced after the actress claimed in court that the company was negligent in protecting her against sexual assault when she worked on the Poof Point at 14 years old. Mind you, In her complaint, this Mr. Doe was middle-aged and had her drinking alcohol. Well, around that time, during Poof Point, when she was 14, Mark Curry was 40.
I was like, damn, he was always old.
Yeah.
On some
At 2000, you was 40.
Yeah, he was 40. Well, you know, him and Steve Harvey, they're peers. And we know Steve was 100.
In the 90s, you was 30. So this is like Morgan Freeman.
There you go. All right. It says, so the former child actress Raquel Lee has sued the Walt Disney Company for negligence, alleging an unidentified middle-aged male employee, all right, who was involved in the filming of the 2001 Disney Channel original movie, The Poof Point, sexually abused and assaulted her at the time she was 14. So what is floated up now in the algo, people have been doing their investigation because she does have people that are fans or they're just curious into what had taken place. The Hollywood Reporter has separately learned that Lee reached a confidential settlement agreement with actor Mark Curry in 2015. He played her father on The Poof Point, Gloria Allred. Y'all know what she's for, the whole Bill Cosby situation, even with R. Kelly. Gloria Allred, known for representing accusers against prominent individuals in sexual misconduct claims, represented Lee in the private resolution. This never made it into the general public stratosphere for the most part because Mark Curry, although he's known, especially amongst black folks, he's never really reached that other side of Hollywood in the sense of notable visibility, like with the likes of Will Smith and things of that nature. So this was kind of able to kind of go unnoticed in 2015. You know, so now with her recent lawsuit, this has come up. And like somebody brought up in the chat, I don't know if it was Miss Lady. It was somebody that brought it up, or it might have been Callie. They said that it made them wonder about Raven Simone, you know, and Raven Simone, she has been on record and saying that there were things that she didn't go into details about what goes on in the industry. You heard about what was going on with information surrounding the Olsen twins, like that whole era. You know, there seems to have been like you know, children that were met with malicious adults, but this here went on in 2015. There was a undisclosed and a secret settlement that took place. Gloria Allred was in the room. She don't come in the room for nothing. And so that was largely that went unnoticed. And I had made a tweet. I said, that's crazy because this drunk ass is always crying about Steve Harvey. The industry.
Yeah, Steve Harvey got many rumors on him, some even diabolical, but nothing so far with children. So at this point, if it's true that Mark Curry was the one who violated her, I mean, there's nothing you could cry about with Steve Harvey at this point. You know, you crying about your career, but you weren't crying about the allegedly the 14-year-old girl that you violated
at 40.
You know, at 40 years of age.
At 40. All right. Mark Curry, and to highlight this here, I mean, Mark Curry wanted to move on to try to become like he did some small roles in some films, but he didn't get a chance to have his career journey in the same trekking measure of what we saw with Steve Harvey. Who Steve Harvey is he kind of had like a Jay-Z situation, a late bloomed career where the older he got, he became more popular. Where that didn't really happen for Mark Curry. He actually went into the reverse, and then they said that these were some of the hidden demons, pedophilia. But up until then, it was just thought like alcoholism and things of that nature. But now we get an idea of what was going on with his raggedy ass behind the scenes.
And nobody on the cast noticed that he was allegedly, or this middle-aged man was violating her?
Well, she says that people on the set knew. And remember,
even Holly?
Yeah.
No, Holly wasn't on it. It was the other one.
Yeah, it was the other lady.
I think her name is Dawn.
Yeah.
Right.
Dawn. But Dawn plays the mother on Poof Point.
Yeah.
Wow.
The one she played in season 1 of the Cooper thingy,
Yeah.
and then she was the mother on Poof Point.
On Poof Point.
So she alludes that they did know that he was harassing her.
See, this is one of the things, though, I'm glad that, no one here does the profession of being an actor or actress, because you don't know who lips you putting on. You know what I'm saying? Think about how as an actor or actress, you doing a kissing scene with a pedophile, and you don't know this person's a pedo.
Yeah, no, that's true. That is
so even hanging out with Mr. Cooper, Holly, he had to kiss this guy, Mark Curry.
Yeah.
Who is a
not Holly. Oh, you said Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, hang out.
Holly was on that.
Yeah, Holly Robinson because they develop a love story arc.
Allegedly, right? This guy's allegedly a perv, and it's like ill. This is So I was just thinking about like even being an actor or actress, like that's the biohazard. Like even think about women on set who had a kissing scene with Kevin Spacey. What's that? What you always say? Be more
yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yuck.
Like yuck.
Like come on.
You get what I'm saying? Like wow. Like,
Shouts out to Code Knox. I do agree with you. I definitely believe Omar Gooding knows a lot of secrets. And he kind of alluded to that on the Art of Dialogue. But yeah, Raquel Lee, Mark Curry, Taj Mowry, T and Tamira's little brother, Mr. Smart Guy, Don Lewis, again, Different World alumni. They just did a reboot for A Different World. But yeah, the original situation in B-More, I mean, like not too long ago, you was binge watching.
I know. I was watching sitcoms, and I was watching the Cooper, but baby, I would not be watching that. Oh, you almost cussed on here. I would not be watching that ish no more.
Well, with hanging with Mr. Cooper, it was like if you look at the premise, it's a Black Threes company, right? It is. And you had Don Lewis, Hallie Robinson Pete, and they were rooming with Mark Curry, who his whole thing is that Golden State Warriors, right? And then
he tried to paint himself off in these shows like as just a regular uncle type energy, but he's a
regular pedo uncle.
He a regular uncle to somebody. A dirty, funny uncle.
Gross.
The uncle they say, girl, don't. When your family members be like, do not stay around Uncle Mark. Why? Listen. If nobody in the room, you get out of there. You see Uncle Mark.
Did they say what the settlement was for?
No, it said undisclosed. It was privately handled. That's why it was a controlled implosion. So it was in 2015. That's why nobody really knew about this.
Well, that's why we'll be careful with our language then.
Yeah.
Because they haven't come out and explicitly said yet that he is a pedo, so we'll be careful with our
he did settle
our language. So but we don't know what he settled for yet.
No, I know. So he did something.
Because we've been said it's suing season, so be very wise with how you dissect things. But I will say,
well, who else would be unless somebody else comes out from the Disney?
No, I mean,
is it another cast member or something?
Obviously, what it looks like. If you put it together, but for the sake of being wise, just saying, he allegedly, but we will find out eventually. Hopefully, it comes to light what the settlement was on, because now she's coming at the Disney, and I think first of all, does Disney? Who here believes Disney need a RICO?
They've been overdue for one. They damn near been overdue for one since slavery.
Disney needs a RICO.
All right, yeah, because they catch one nigga in rap and they immediately trigger the RICO. All right, he was like, no man, I was just doing it by myself. But yeah, what be more? Sandra Quarterman, she came in on the later half, right?
Yeah, because I think after season 2 or 3, that's when they started that arc with
the child,
the cousin Geneva, and then Raven Simone playing the younger cousin Nicole. Coming in and they living with him and Holly.
Boy, funny business and show business. Yeah, I saw people online. They were shocked. They said, "What?" So.
What do y'all think is gonna come about with her even exposing Disney? A lot of these companies should have been hit with RICO. So certain universities too. I'm still come on, who gonna hit Penn State with a RICO? It needs it. First of all, Penn State University should have been hit with a RICO when it came to Sandusky.
Yeah, I agree.
This is just I don't know how that university keeps getting away with the most disgusting things.
The Illuminati.
True.
Know that.
But the cocaine selling,
Come on now.
the children trafficking, like,
To be honest, Penn
gracious.
State haunted. It's one thing to the next. They gonna have to get some.
That's an evil university.
They're gonna have to get some priests, some shamans, something. A Wiccan witch. Y'all have to get something off that soil. That soil is off. People getting assaulted up in there, little kids. People selling crack kids and unks everywhere. Like, y'all have everything but education is happening on this soil. Y'all, something has to be done.
Well, any other thoughts y'all have on Mark Curry possibly being the person talked about with Raquel pertaining to inappropriate
I think they're gonna have
energy?
I think the information. If it's been, I'm pretty sure there's been some something contractual behind it, like NDAs after the settlement or whatever the case may be. But I wouldn't be surprised to get the attention to go elsewhere. I think his profile is going to be elevated in the next several months because they'll become more focused on what's going on with Mark Curry, and then that could quote unquote at least Disney can say we did not support what went on. We did not endorse it. And that's the whole point of celebrity and profile too. High profiles, you can be used in that. But again, if he violated, a girl, again, 14. I want to be clear because I don't do the young woman shit.
She's not a young
No,
woman.
that's
She's
a
a
girl.
child.
That's a child.
Yeah.
That's a little girl. And you 40 years old. And Mark Curry's 6'6". I want y'all to keep that in mind. So that's put that in perspective. A 6'6" dude on top of a little girl. So that could explain why he may have went silent publicly. We'll see again. Yeah, because there was a period where Mark was kind of like having a bit of
resurgence.
Yeah, and then it was dwarfed again. He came out and said what he said about Steve Harvey on that Fox Soul show, trash show, and
Fox Soul was so corny.
It was fake.
It was sleepy.
Yeah, but what's your thoughts on this? Be more, that whole era things keep getting Bill Cosby, Spanish Flies, Mark Curry,
All I just
the funny
know-
uncle.
The funny uncle need to stop laughing, child. I am tired, baby. I will be watching nothing. I told Prince I will be.
You be watching nothing.
Yes, I will be watching The Wall. Only thing I've been watching is animation, and I still have to be careful because sometimes them animators be caught with their computer pants down with stuff. So I was like, listen, I'm only watching animators, and if I find out one of my comic or manga artists, she got in trouble for not filing her taxes, but they was working homegirl. They worked her because her show took off, so she had to go to jail and everything. But I'm going to support you because I feel like that's something you can work out.
Tax evasion, I
will watch your
if
stuff.
If you are a good artist, tax evasion, I will still support you.
Yeah.
If it's anything along those lines, that's a sin I can
deal with. The guy from Solo Leveling has to do his military, mandatory military time. That one breaking my heart. He gotta find somebody else to do it. Listen, I can deal with it.
For Solo Leveling,
I know.
I'm so irritated.
I'm
by
so
that.
mad right now.
But going back to your point, so you gonna be cutting off most of media?
I cannot see, and I don't want to be looking at your interactions and be like, yuck. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, no, that is true.
I don't have time. That's weird, bro. Leave me alone.
That's one of the reasons why Prince and I didn't have no energy to do a review on the Game's album.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't a bad album, but I don't feel like it. He don't feel like it. Especially also what Brandy King told us about, the rapper The Game.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't feel interested.
Yeah. And I hate
when something is confirmed.
Yeah.
Not just a rumor when it's confirmed, and it was confirmed with The Game. But go ahead.
No, you're right about that. I agree with B more. Yeah, it does take because it breaks the fourth wall in a negative way. Sometimes people, celebrities, artists break the fourth wall, and you're like, wow, you really about that activism life. Like they really took a bullet for Michigan, right? But a lot of times these people be breaking the fourth wall in disgusting ways, and you can't go back and listen to it the same. That's why I used to hate when niggas argue with me about R. Kelly. I'm like, nigga, I'm not listening to it.
Sing about kids, bro.
I got away with it, right? You keep doing that type of stuff. So
I'm not judging people though who listen to his music. I just want to say that I'm not judging y'all. If you was a person who was advocating for him to go to prison, he's in prison. it's just for certain people personal taste. Certain people personal taste just don't want to even listen to the music or the movie or watch.
Oh yeah, but also like
just
I said,
just to put that out there, you know. But also, what do y'all think about?
Well, just
films?
to say, I'm gonna finish this part. That being the case, but don't judge me either, because I've had situations directly where I'll be like, "Hey, man, I don't mess with. Oh man, come on, man." And they'll try to go into. They don't do it as much now because R. Kelly's been so ridiculous. But there was a period. If you say, "Oh, no, I don't really fuck with R. Kelly's music," you have a nigga try to be a lawyer in front of you. Like, nigga, get out of my face.
True, but you know, a lot of people still watching movies that have a lot of pedophiles in it.
Yeah,
Alleged pedophiles. Like Kevin Spacey, he wasn't convicted on pedophilia, but he did admit to
being inappropriate,
having a sexual inappropriate engagement with a 14-year-old
Yeah,
boy.
it's Hollywood. Yeah, it's all over.
And
It's,
so that means, are people not going to watch Seven? Are people not going to watch Pay It Forward? Are people not?
I wasn't watching them like that anyway.
No,
you don't watch nothing. Be more. I'm asking this to the public, not you.
To be honest, the book people get me more. So when you came to me about Neil Gaiman, I said, "Dang, dang."
Oh yeah. I told you about Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, the Neil thing.
Gotta hang it up.
He's.
And they said it's pretty disgusting.
It was disgusting. I was looking at it. I'm like, I gotta go.
I'm not talking to B-more because B-more don't cut most media out anyway. But I'm asking people, are you? Because sometimes I feel with the R. Kelly thing is easy to do, but people who do that and cut R. Kelly out his music, which you have every right to do so,
because you keep singing about it in your ear,
they go and still watch movies where there's a bunch of pedos there too.
It depends on what mood you're in as a consumer. You know, sometimes you like the Kyle. I'm gonna put him on the screen. This Kyle A. Carosa. This was the guy that they arrested from Cartoon Network. I mean, he looks crazy anyway.
Look, them lamb chops is wild work. Jesus.
Like an ancient slave owner. But anyway,
nobody was watching his show.
I didn't watch it.
They said, but he was well, he's worked on other properties that were popular too.
What he working on?
All right, even the Steven Universe shit. All right,
okay. I didn't know he worked on Steven.
Yeah, no, he got it right.
So he worked on.
He worked as an employee, or he was like that in charge.
He worked around the show as a journeyman. Then he was able to get his own show.
I don't mean to be rude, but just certain people just look like a pedophile.
You know,
and he has a pedophile face.
Look at the hair and the beard, like yo.
Everybody in the chat,
and they try to look disarming with the bright colors.
Everyone in the chat, would y'all be surprised to learn that this guy is a pedophile? He has a pedophile face.
Kind of be surprised if he wasn't.
I actually would be shocked if he wasn't a pedophile.
Man, my bad. You just raising your family with your wife. My bad. I judged you. But no, actually, you know, that's what we say. Like, you know, we're the artists, and again, you know, what? Shouts out to Brandy Kane too. The only thing I say in the process, because unless you're being a moral bully, then you're going to fall into the conversation of your hypocrisy is going to be questioned. I don't really question people if they just say, look, I'm just not interested. Y'all can go do what y'all want to do. And then if they say, you know, no, I just listen to the music or I just mess with the art, but I don't know these people. There's still a lot of consumers that they get to consume their work that way.
Somebody said, who is that? He is an animator that got charged with indecent dynamics with children on the computer. You could do the math.
16 terabytes.
Yes,
16 terabytes of inappropriate movies.
And you're right. His clothes feel very malicious. Like he's trying to like
disarm you.
Yeah, and then he work where the kids be at. Like, bro, come on now.
That's what I tell you, man. The predators are gonna go where the children are.
But also, before we go into Mike Jeffries, because he's been alleged of messing with underage people as well.
Got a bit of a nasty run right now.
But a lot of people in Hollywood.
Scary one. Scary too, Lord.
A lot of people who have been in films who are pedos or have been financed by people who are pedos, and I want to know in the chat, what do y'all think of that before we get into Mike Jeffries?
That's fair.
Yeah, I think
and he goes in the clothing line. Actually, a lot of the people who make people's clothes be off, disgusting people.
Well, that's that dark side of Stranger Things. You know, the extent of your knowledge is if the product is appealing to you or not. You know, now if you have that parasocialism, of course you're going to be the idiot that's going to be out here fighting for these people you don't know. But you know, most of the consumers, like they say, they don't know how the hamburger's made. You know,
Memento said, look, he said, Unusual Suspects is still one of my favorite films.
See, this actually remind me because I was in white people business, and it was this lady. She had started trending. You know that little trend they do. I don't know if you know this, but it's a trend where they act like they doing the intro of a Netflix documentary.
Oh yeah. I
Right.
saw that. It came
So
across my timeline.
she had did one. This is tea, y'all, and warning everybody because it talks about violence and stuff. So she said basically something to the effect when you find out that your husband is inappropriate with children.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
Suddenly,
Yeah.
she after she did made that post, y'all. Let me tell y'all how her husband pow-powed her and pow-powed himself. I said, "Woo,
whoa,
yeah." So she had
Yeah.
exposed him.
Mm-hmm.
So she said she had did it in like one of those posts, like when you find out that it be like the little thing for
Yeah.
Netflix, and when you find out your husband is like a pervert, basically.
Violating
What do
children.
y'all think about the Seventh Heaven guy too? Like
The
how
wi-
they
the
quickly,
wife exposed him too.
Yeah,
No,
you got,
yes,
his
but how they-
confessions was on the tape.
yeah, but how they quickly like they moved past that very fast in media.
Well, because it wasn't. It wasn't something. He's a boring looking fucker, so they really was trying to. I saw a few people try to make the story like when it first broke because
It's
it was
still a
Seven
good story
Hammond.
because it's one of the it was one of the longest running
Yeah.
CW shows. Yeah, he's a boring white boy, but he shouldn't be getting
Scot-free.
Getting scot free.
Also,
He
there
was-
all was kids on that show.
That's
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah.
Yes,
But they was gonna do
he's
that.
someone who was messing with kids, and he was always around in
whole bunch
kids'
of children.
property.
I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When they said the father was doing that, it looked on brand to the show to me.
My God, yo.
Like some Utah shit.
He did look like an evil Utah
Dang.
cracker. He a Salt Lake City cracker.
That's what it felt like to me. I mean, I thought it was
true.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I think this is on brand because even growing up, I just assumed that. You know what's so gangster about how they do the news with racism? Do y'all know when y'all hear stories of like a white father murked the entire family? But then, like, I'll give you an example. There was one story in Frisco. No, it was I think no, it was Denton. I was in Denton, Texas, and a guy he took out the whole family, like, and he had this like nice big house, appearing like he was a dentist, and he was like, "Oh my God, why did Rick do it?" And in my head, I was like, "Yo, he probably was a pedo." You know, that's what, yeah, because what they don't tell you, a lot of times the wives confront them.
And then they start killing people.
And then they just murk everybody.
Wow.
And they don't add that to the story, but you know, they can tell you that Nolan had a white claw in his hand.
Also,
you get what I'm saying?
sorry, Memento, but yes, Neil, yes, he
Neil
was
Gaiman.
alleged of being a sexual assaulter. I don't know if they said children though, but
I
that's
think
still
it was
students.
That's
Or
still bad.
like they were adults, but still.
That's
yuck.
still evil. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
still
I ain't-
evil.
I ain't-
Yeah, they
I ain't
said that
watching
he
it,
was
though.
a vicious sexual assaulter.
In fact, you know, Sin, because B-More and I, we talked about Neil Gaiman's work a lot, but Sin had one time for like a birthday gift, she had like got me like the audio book, and so they had all these actors and actresses for Sandman. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I kid you not, like maybe a year later or two later, I started seeing artists complain because it was a girl. She said Neil Gaiman isn't shit, and I was like, oh man, come on.
Yeah.
And then so they break it in, and then when you read like
Yeah.
what he did, it was pretty
Yeah,
disgusting.
I said, well, guys, there's no point of even watching that Sandman on Netflix because they about to cancel it, and they did. After season 2, they said it's gonna be
Bye-bye.
canceled.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman right there, y'all.
They said he had a dirty PP and was giving people diseases.
Oh
too.
yeah, they said that too. They say
Yeah.
that Neil was giving women STDs.
Like his PP was dirty and yuck.
A lot of them people in Hollywood
Lord.
private parts be stinking. I mean, like, come on. They
Prayers to the victim child, cause woo.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman. He had faced more sexual assault allegations, and this is 2025, so he was still collecting them.
Victims, they just
Yeah.
coming out left and right.
Best-selling British author Neil Gaiman has reportedly been accused, and this is good for all these little stuffy intellectual spaces with it. Like, you're not one of us because we sexually assault people, right? So sexual misconduct by 8 women, including 4 who previously spoke out. The fantasy graphic novel and science fiction writer whose books Good Omens, American Gods, The Sandman have been adapted for television was the subject of a New York magazine cover story, and the article, which details fresh claims made against him based on interviews with 8 women, follows last year's release of Tortoise Medea's Tortoise Media's podcast master, which reported the initial accusations. So it just goes on and on that like was being brought up, with Neil Gaiman. It was a big thing.
Go say he on the island with Woody right now. Woody Allen got $14 million to make a film.
He's still getting money.
The fuck?
He's still getting
that
money.
Nobody's gonna watch.
No,
but
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro gonna watch the film.
Yeah.
This is some Monday long. This world is trash.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just tell you.
And you know
There's a bunch of evil people just washing money for each other. Cause even Jeffrey Epstein, he wasn't shit. He wasn't doing nothing either.
No, he wasn't. No, I think Neil Gaiman is a case for you can't judge a book by its cover because he looks crazy.
Look, people talk about who you walk across the street from.
Yeah. He looks crazy.
Neil just looked crazy.
And who's the other one?
But the 16 terabyte fat white dude,
looked scary.
I would have crossed the street.
He looked like a cannibal.
To me, he looked like a pedo to me.
And then
I would cross the street.
And James Blake looked crazy to me.
Who that one?
The beautiful guy.
You are beautiful. Yo, I'm like,
must be an angel.
James Blake looked crazy. He don't look crazy.
Is
it James Blake? No, I'm talking about James Blunt. My bad, James Blunt. Yeah. I always mixed them up because.
James Blake, don't get the lawyers.
Yeah.
We not talking about James Blake retrograde. We ain't talking about
that was
him.
a great album.
Oh, he do look crazy.
Yeah, he looked crazy. Let me put him on the screen for y'all. Yo, he looked crazy to me. Look, don't he look like a villain in the movie?
Yeah, he did.
He looked crazy. And I knew when I saw this video back in the day, I said, man, get out of here with this.
I just know when I saw that video, it looked like, damn, his feet wet and stinking.
Actually, I thought he was like trying to kill himself because remember he took all his clothes off,
And
he jumped all of his personal items and jumped off the cliff. Like I thought he was murking himself.
No,
I thought it was a murk note he left in the song.
It was
like I can't be with
ritual
you and I'm gonna kill myself.
Transformation.
Yeah, look. You are beautiful. Look at that. I'm not trying to be funny. Hollywood makes a great case for these people act how they look.
No, but I will say Hollywood is very dangerous because I've seen people say they weren't attracted to someone, but then they see them in Hollywood and then they be like, I'm attracted.
To that type.
You attracted because they did witchcraft on you.
They did witchcraft on them.
You don't even fucking know if you truly attracted to that person. They did witchcraft on you.
Yeah, this
because outside of music, who is going to be going? And also
like
with Ed too. Ed ugly too.
Look, yo.
Like, come on now.
Right
he cannot take a nice picture for nothing.
No.
Even when they tried to touch him up here.
Yeah.
It looked like
a seagull in the shirt.
He looked like Dexter.
Yeah. And they tried to give him facial hair. The facial hair, because the men cheat. Some of y'all cheat with that facial hair to try to cover up them weak chins.
Man, he looked crazy. No, sir, you right. I just... Look, and then look at him when he old now. He really look crazy.
And it's really in the eyes. Look at them eyes.
He look like a Nazi.
But I've seen too many times like people who are just creepy, and then all of a sudden people say, "Oh, they're sexy." That's because
like Diddy.
Yes.
Diddy look creepy.
Diddy always looked like a worm in the face. But all of a sudden, because people in Hollywood said he was sexy, eventually, then he's sexy.
They hit him with that Penn State witchcraft. Y'all
they do that high magic shit.
Yeah, that's that Penn State witchcraft.
I don't give a fuck what no woman in Hollywood say, because she could have been drugged up to say that in a conversation. And there's just something about Diddy that he's just so attractive. Witchcraft.
Well, also, let a random nigga sit in your house with shades on all day. What y'all gonna say? Yo, you gotta get the fuck up out of here. You a weird nigga. But Diddy can do it. Boy, I tell y'all, man, the standards is money and power. That's it. But yeah, James Blake looked crazy. Neil Gaiman looks crazy. Mike Jeffries. We're gonna get to Mike Jeffries. The whole Abercrombie and Finch. And that was witchcraft too, because they kept telling everybody. I didn't care about.
They
Abercrombie
were saying that
Finch.
was Americana though.
Yeah,
and remember they had
Abercrombie and Finch.
They had Taylor Swift. They had Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah,
and you know what's inappropriate about them? I now remember a story when I was in visual performing arts in high school. A teacher said they went to visit one of the stores. And one of the visual performing arts students from high school was in the store working there with his shirt off.
Whoa. And no, that did happen.
And the teacher
in the
was
2000s,
and she's like, what the hell are you doing here with your shirt off?
Yeah.
He was like,
I'm a model. Remember, you hire you for a model position.
Exactly.
You know what?
This guy need to be hit with a fucking RICO. A RICO charge right now.
I got something else. So they was people saying, one, they wouldn't hire no black people. So that's number one.
Good.
Number two, they wouldn't hire you if you was black and you came in with like black hairstyles, like braids and stuff. Like your hair had to be like loose and probably preferably straight. Okay,
wait, real quick, be more. Keep your thoughts. It's buffering now that we're talking about Mike. Is it getting better? Dope, unapologetic. Let us know. Is the buffering getting better? And also, are you recording this right now, Prince?
No, not for this one because there was some issues there. But we'll have it. It'll be fine when I would download it on this one.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Can y'all hear? Yeah, Queen Elizabeth was a creepy looking woman too. Can y'all hear? So, Be More can okay, Be More. Let's give it another go. Go ahead. Give it another try of saying what your opinion was.
Okay, can y'all hear me? So yeah, so they were saying they wouldn't hire no black people for Abercrombie if you had like braids. Let's say you come in there with like box braids or something. They would not hire you, and they will only hire you if your hair was loose, like loose and straight. So like you say you got a perm, something like that, then they will hire you. They also told people that ugly people. I don't want to see it. I'm not trying to be rude.
No, I get what you're saying. Cause I hate when ugly people make standards of beauty.
Yes, yo,
like
ugly.
even when like they said Jimmy Iovine said Dawn Richards was ugly, you're ugly. Or like when Mike Jeffries talk about standards of beauty, bro.
I'm like, but you're
who
ugly.
are you to talk?
That's what I'm saying. Like you're actually that all that money you get, you need to go into a doctor's office. But yeah, so they would not hire black people if you came in there with like straight backs or something. You're not getting hired. Your hair had to be loose, straight, and then like if they felt like you was like unattractive, they would have you work in the back, like basically like putting up folding things and stuff, but you would not be out in the front. So I find it very funny now that because they mostly hire like white people. I don't really care to just say it, but it's true. But listen, I think it's very funny how we're having all this stuff where people talking about like, yeah, I worked as a model, my shirt was off, but I was also trafficked. And some of the people that were models for Abercrombie are some very popular people that you saw in like a lot of stuff.
Let's put up the names. Hold on.
But yes, they said ugly people to the back of the bus. They had them in the back folding up stuff, and they will only put cute workers up front. So when you said that your teacher saw one of your classmates out there getting basically coming outside like a hooker with no shirt on and some little underwear, like, you know, boy or girl or not, but he's topless outside trying to sell
look at
stuff.
the workers here. See this? Look, this was their theme. And y'all know I was so ignorant. People kept bringing up Abercrombie and Finch, and for the longest, I didn't know what the hell they were talking about until I went to a mall one time. I think I was at the Galleria in Houston, so I went to the Galleria. And then I saw it. This is when it was like really popular, and I saw all these like blonde haired white women,
like surfer or like I guess you could say like they try to do like the white that boy next door, or girl next door, or like friend.
Well,
so when I went in there and I saw this, I said, "Oh, so this is the store." But I did notice all of the workers did look alike.
So you have people like Channing Tatum, who was there for modeled casual wear and athletic gear. Jennifer Lawrence. You know, for those who know the actress in Hunger Games and all that, appeared early in promotional imagery. Taylor Swift, she was a young model for their campaign in 2003, before her music career took off. Jamie Dornan, the one who played in that, what's that? The stuff where he beating a woman. Oh, 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh,
that guy. Yeah.
I wouldn't know what film.
Like, I actually thought of something like Enough. I said beating a woman.
No.
Domestic violence movie.
I never saw 50 Shades of Grey, but he was in that movie. Let me see who else. Let me see any other famous people.
The guy who played Superman from Smallville. Somebody said that he was in there.
I can see that.
True.
I can see
and
that.
I could see them going for that look. That look, yeah.
Farm boy look shit.
Let me see who else.
That was good marketing for them. The reason why, like, whenever I see like what gets cycled into culture, whether it's this Abercrombie and Finch or Tom Ford, because we had somebody who was like, "Oh, you didn't know who Tom Ford was." I have heard growing up where like trafficking comes in. sex slavery, and money laundering. So what was, some people that worked in the fashion industry when I was a kid, they would tell me on the dark end that, when you see that there's some other stuff going on there. So that's why, no, when I especially white fashion house brands, no, I didn't care when they cycled in. I was like, it's probably some lying shit.
Illegal.
Emma Roberts in 2005. That's Penn. He's the guy who was in
Penn what? Like,
Penn Bagley?
Yeah, he was.
That's the one that's in that Thriller You, and he was in Gossip Girl.
He was,
which
in
I watched both of those.
He was in their campaign in 2005.
That makes sense for Gossip, because how he went over into the CW. Wait a minute,
Ashton
some
Kutcher.
of these people going from here to the CW.
A lot of them. Most of the people.
That's suspicious.
Who was in the Amber in their stuff? They were in CW stuff. They were in like very Wonder Bread. Pop culture type things.
Like
they ran
they
kind of thing.
They ran their ads at that time too, their commercials.
Ashton Kutcher was in there in 1998.
That makes sense.
What?
It's people from Friends.
They had Jamie Dornan in the 2002 one. What is he naked with another man sitting on his lap?
See?
Oh, that was the picture that was floating around.
Who was the Dornan?
I don't know who he is, but I saw the picture.
50 Shades of Grey. Like, why are these white guys with their ass cheeks
You know why I
out?
said.
You know why.
Come on
They
now.
selling them.
That's them sugar babies.
Getting sold.
Sugar babies got a career.
They stay a little version of the slave trade.
January Jones, I don't know nothing about her.
Oh, she was in Mad Men. Remember how popular that was?
Yeah. That was
the child actress on Buffy.
I can see that.
Michelle Trachtenberg?
Yeah,
Trachtenberg.
she was in their 2004 ad.
I can see
and
that.
Guess what? She too went to the CW with the Buffy thing, but she was also on the CW with Gossip Girl.
Olivia Wilde, 2004. Lindsay Lohan, 1998.
This ain't looking good, y'all, because it's too many people that.
Well, it's Mike
Chris
Jeffries.
Carmack, 2004.
Yeah, it's Mike Jeffries too, by the way, y'all. So I'm gonna put him back on the
Sienna
screen so y'all
Miller.
can see what he looks like.
Jesse Jesse McCartney.
Oh,
I vaguely
that's
remember
the Beatles, him. That guy, the one who did he was part of the Beatles. That's I think his son.
Oh, okay.
One of the Beatles is one of the McCartneys. Yes.
I can see that.
I forgot his Paul McCartney. That's his son.
Okay.
Nikki Reed, 2004. She also played in that controversial film 13.
Oh yeah, I remember that movie.
I don't know who that is, but I just read the list. I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know who that is.
Well, I think that's good for people to see where it can go, because like, man, I can't remember. I remember when Tom Ford came. I told you the story. I was like, I didn't care about Tom Ford, and I said it's all suspect anyway. You know how much trafficking and enslavement goes.
Marketed towards
it was marketed towards them.
But they was buying them sweaters up, and y'all remember how popular the fragrance was, because the fragrance used to come out of the store, and they was trying to sell people the perfumes and stuff like that.
Timberland's fan base. Because he was over there.
What's so crazy too?
Yeah.
I think most black people missed that whole thing.
Yeah, I know I missed
what
it.
thing?
With Mike Jeffrey, because we weren't a part of that one.
Some of these rings be really specific, and that's because I actually, how am I gonna say this? I actually worked with people who either escaped a ring or they got arrested and they found out that they was trafficked, and then you have to call a different unit, y'all. Y'all can't call like domestic violence. There is literally a whole separate unit for people who go through rings, right? And sometimes they're not even the same county or place. You have to call them sometimes out. So at this point in Maryland, this was years ago, right? So in Baltimore, we didn't have that. We had to call somebody out from like I think Hartford or Howard County to come deal with this lady because they was going to arrest her for prostitution. Come to find out, they found out that she was trafficked, right? So then they had to do a whole different ball game. But I'm telling y'all, some of these rings, how they are set up, that's why when the white people start tripping, I'm like, bro, y'all need to get it together, because they over there selling y'all like like a pig pen.
No,
right
yeah,
now.
white people
like y'all need to
focus
get
on-
it.
white
And some of
people-
y'all sell higher than other.
White people
races.
are focused on race while they getting trafficked around
That's
the world.
what I'm trying to tell
But also,
y'all.
there was a model recently. I hope the stream stopped buffering so we could get to it. But he was talking about how Mike Jeffries was a disgusting trafficker.
He looks scary.
Two-Face Tom said he looked like the violator from Spawn. He do. It's again, ugly people trying to create standards of beauty.
Yeah. They need the standards so they can go find cute victims. Like,
Well, most of your real power players in the world that have like power, unmitigated power, and they violate. They do look like demons. I mean, they always. I mean, because you got to remember they're crazy. So they look in the face in the mirror. They don't know they look ugly.
He another one I would cross
Yeah.
the street on.
I'm scared.
Yeah, long time Abercrombie CEO Michael Jeffrey resigns after disappointing sales. You guys remember they kept trying to bring it back in like 2014, 2015, and at the very least, in some of the ads, they had some biracials.
Yeah, they started trying to put more black people. I told you they said they will only hire black people if your hair was straight.
Yeah.
And even then,
I don't want to be a part of your company.
No, this was people just trying to
No,
work the
but
floor, but then they had people working the back.
Most black people didn't want to be a part of that anyway. We have a super chat.
It says here the industry is ran by mafia and fascists. For example, Taylor Swift's family is connected to Charles Baldy, who owned a bank and was personal friends of Mussolini. Then ran the only Italian newspaper in American El Opinion or Opinionate. Wow, great information too, by the way. Self-made, man.
Self-made.
I
MVP.
like that.
That was some great info.
Man, dang, I like that one. I'm gonna give you a bomb on that one, player. That was really.
And they said Taylor Swift also got connections to BlackRock.
She does.
Yeah,
her daddy.
father.
Yeah, her father's tied to it. So
yeah.
Look, I mean, you'll find out like a lot of your celebrities. You go back and read about Drake's family history. He comes from a very powerful family history, and it's very honestly with some of the because y'all also got to know even in rap, like you kind of dealing with a lot of nepo babies. Y'all find out, they were like, oh, Will Smith's my cousin, whatever the case is. You're like, wait, bro, what? That's not normal, right? So, but even in these spaces, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised. Thank you, Self-Made. I wouldn't be surprised about that information with Taylor Swift. Because there is a way she kind of moves that kind of like, ownership type energy. Yeah, it's kind of giving that a lot of that.
JS says Taylor Swift's father owned Red Records, a big country music label.
Yeah, nepo babies.
Yeah.
No, y'all, I'm telling y'all dealing with Sabrina Carpenter. Her auntie is the voice of Bart Simpson.
Yep.
Yeah, and Nancy Cartwright said, I was able to plug her in and work her through to get her the deal she needed to get.
But also it's split though
You know?
how people use that because Whitney Houston family is from the industry. Nobody calls Whitney Houston a nepo baby.
Well, they didn't hide it either. So
No,
like,
I
think
know- I
where
know
the
that
nepo
because
thing come in
some-
when they start lying.
Some people though they have a family like remember like even before we get into the industry because most of this become problematic because a lot of these people are trafficking kids. It's disgusting.
That is true.
But people if a family like what you was talking about have a skill set,
Yeah, they're skilled.
and that family get into that business is a family business
It is a
based
family
off of a skill that most family members have.
Yeah.
So Michael Jackson family,
Entertainment,
Whitney
singing,
Houston family,
Yeah.
Drake's family.
Entertainment,
There are a lot
singing.
of people who families are surrounded in entertainment
Yeah.
because that's
their
where
skill
most of their
set.
skill set.
And it's natural. It'll be very easy for them.
The problem though that comes in with the industry is when you go into the whole mafia thing and then you get into the whole conglomerates and all that. Because even when you look at Prodigy's bloodline, his family pioneered a lot of things in music. So did Whitney Houston. So did Drake's black half of the family, pioneering different techniques in music and sound. And so it is an interesting thing when you look at the whole map of the industry. They make a lot of things complicated because of the mafia part, it being built and ran by mafia. Whether you talk about the movie industry and also the music industry, and it's a really interesting how all these things come colliding because of that.
Well, Oh, well, go ahead.
I was just going to piggyback too. Like, it even goes into families who are like, this is like how you look at charts when they're in crime, regardless of like their background. It is a higher likelihood that they'll go into the family business of being a career criminal, not like a random act of crime. That's not a profession. I mean, their job is to be a criminal. So when people be like, I'm a blood, my mom's a blood, my grandparent was.
Yeah, it's generational.
Even the crime families, like they are, like when you talk about like the mob, what you're watching, like the Godfather, that is their skill. Their skill. Now you can try to work your way out of it. Again, you can still do that, but the natural talent, like the natural, just in the chart. Like when sometimes me and Sin joke about, like, baby, you have a crime chart. You must come from a long line of criminals, or y'all had some type of something set up. It's true. Like even going up to crime, like they'll have a talent or a penchant for crime.
Yeah, well, also I think what you all are discussing is a little bit. I agree with you all about that. You know, if you're an artist, your mama was an artist. That's different. Like that's what you saw pretty much with Whitney Houston and them. It's like this. These are traits, these are skills, and a lot of times these are inherited gifts, right?
Even Taylor Swift, I don't like her music, but she do know how to play the acoustic guitar and some other instruments. You know, it's not my cup of tea, but
no, she does. What I am saying, like, okay, when we're speaking specifically towards like nepotism, whether the person is talented or not, because most people know like the notable nepotism is like an untalented person is put in place. But we also got to talk about nepotism, like the culture of like unfair practices of levying power in a way where somebody else who does have talent may not get to breathe, or their daddy or their mama is not a part of a powerful network in that regard.
But that's what we call the fine line.
And so
to your point, you're making a great point, but that's where we call the fine line between our trade family or nepo. Usually they call it a nepo if you're not really talented. You're getting pushed into positions that you haven't earned. Like they speedball you through the process and you don't deserve it. When you listen to Whitney Houston, she could have been sped through certain processes, but I mean, she's fucking amazing. A generational, one in a lifetime type of, talent, which is why the industry, that's why I say it makes it complicated, because you're looking at these families, you're looking at these different people's careers, and as the audience, even though these people are making their way in because they do have people in the family that's plugged in, it's also a situation where it's like, a lot of people give grace when the person is talented, and then also, is it a family trade? But then the business make it complicated because you have the mafia part and all that, and then sometimes you have it in the bloodline where like 6 people like fire, one person not good, but they still get pushed through because the other family members who have created that trade and market in that industry.
Well, okay, you're gonna have that because you can't help the network you're born into. So if I'm born into a family of gospel singers and I want to sing, that's like how I'm going to. Yeah, that's how I'm going to network. Yeah. But like when I'm speaking about nepotism, it's not just like let's say people use Taylor Swift or whatever. It's a lot of executives too. A lot of the executives are nepo babies. That's why a lot of times they don't know how to run any of these industries. You can even see what's going on with Elliot Grange, and the horrible job they're doing at Atlantic.
Elliot Grange is but see, here's the thing that now you're going into
so that's what I'm saying about
he's a nepo baby because he doesn't have the skills. So okay, your daddy has the skills allegedly, Lucien. You get a position, let's say this is a trade, but you're not good at it. Usually when you come from a trade family and one person in the family is not talented at something, they just try to find somebody else to continue it, to move forward. I agree with you that if the talent is not there and you're still getting positions, you obviously are a nepo baby. But I was like, people use the nepo in a large umbrella term, and then also people sometimes forget that there are trade families with skill sets where if your family are a bunch of people who are great at cooking, you may have a chef, a family of chefs. But here's where the danger comes in, to your point that I agree with. When people start to then gain power in that market for whatever reason, right? If making, let's say, even some very hardcore decision moves, like some corporate takeover stuff, but they also talented. A talented family of chefs, right? They have a conglomerate now. But then they start producing people, heirs within that family who suck. They don't know, they're not great at being chefs. Maybe they should be something else. But they still keep getting powerful positions in the business over people who are more talented, which can happen. And then that's when you start to get the nepotism, because nepotism is literally about a lot of times even unskilled labor or unskilled individuals being put in powerful positions because of their family ties.
Yeah, and it could go both ways. It's like, you can have someone who is talented.
Freddie Gibbs, they bring him up. He's another entertainment baby. Freddie Gibbs, Black Light said, another entertainment baby.
Yeah, and a lot of times, because the nepotism, the act in itself is you're supremely benefited by the power that your family could, which you're coming from. And, whether you have the gift or not, your family can really subvert positions or positioning of competitors out of the way on your behalf to get you into a fast-tracked situation where people are like, yo, where the hell did he or she come from, right? I think it's more identifiable for people if we see the person's clearly not that good.
That's why if we go into go ahead, Prince.
The other side of it, I guess where hip hop is a little different than other genres, the quote unquote streets mean so much that, the more authentic from the streets you would have sounded or appear to have been throughout your years. Because remember, it's this whole concept of coming out of black people spaces, and I came from the bottom, I made it myself. It hits a little different when people found out, like, oh, your uncle ran a major record label, and then they kept you in the studio since you was a kid. And I'm not saying that's nepotism. I'm saying that's part of the family trade. But what gets marketed to hip hop is that this person came from the streets by themselves, and then you find out like their father was a very powerful back end Universal producer. You've seen that before. I think with Jermaine Dupri, I never seen him really advertise that he's a street nigga, but people were surprised when they found out who his father was, and it was like, oh, okay, I didn't really know that. Well, so I think that's sometimes where you get the different slight when it comes to hip hop versus other parts of the music industry.
Nepotism is, the definition says, it's the practice of people in power giving jobs, favors, or advantages to their family members instead of choosing people based on skills or merit. Whitney Houston has merit and skills, so she wouldn't be a nepo baby. And this is why
she's not a nepo baby.
This is a very important to have a distinction. And then also with the nepo baby definition, which is a slang term created, a person who achieves success or gains career opportunities through their family's fame, wealth, and connections rather than solely on their own merit. So let's go to the nepotism first. If you are a trade family and all of you are skilled, is not a nepotism. You have a bloodline and generation of people who are highly skilled in this particular area. It's a trade family, and trade families is something that's very ancient. You used to have it in tribes.
It's very old.
Yeah, it's if you're an artisan and your family or just a family of that, it's a very old thing. So Whitney Houston comes from a trade family. Her mother, an amazing fucking singer. Her aunties, amazing singers. Her herself, one of the greatest singers of all time.
Just with the family business.
It's a family business. It's a trade family. So you do have a lot of people, though, who are trade families that have crossed over to become also, big names. So it's very interesting, though, how this goes about, because the industry, it distorts things and it makes a lot of things very toxic. You would think something as old as time of having a trade family where a set of people in your family have this a skill set that they pass on to each other, and they have a business because they're skilled labor.
Yeah.
But eventually, when you're talking about an industry, which is very important, going to your point, B-More, and also the Prince point, when you have an industry that was created by mafias, which is the music and movie industry, Sometime a trade family can still get in trouble if they go up against a very powerful executive family that don't have the skill sets in that music, but they can start, you know, dictating what happens to that family, like what we saw with Michael Jackson, or what we saw what Les Moonves did to Janet Jackson. So it's a lot of messiness that happens in the movie and music industry. But some of the people is obviously it is nepotism, and some of these people come from trade families where their families have come up with different type of techniques in music and sound and so on and so forth.
Just real quick, can y'all hear? Because I think somebody said they were throttling. Like
When I'm re-uploaded, it'll be
It'll
clean.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just to touch on, y'all did a really good job of skills and people being born into skill. Everyone has this ability just by way of just being born. So just a few things I saw in the comment section. I think it was like momental. It's like, I thought that people who do crime want to eventually escape crime. It really depends, but not all crime families escape crime. Sometimes trades are put out of business. Like it's no longer feasible. So if you ask the crime families that came in through, like, I guess from the Upper East Coast, like some of the old Italian crime families, they said, well, it's not that they would stop doing crime. They say it's just the way they used to do it is not feasible anymore due to the advent of technology. So although we like these stories and we like the movies that are being made, they just can't really get down how they used to. And number two, I think I was watching one interview where the guy said, I know the descendants of that crime family, they're mostly legit, but do they still get caught like with credit card hacking or more like white collar crimes, like less of what we see from traditional crime and mob movies of like people running around with like a high intensity of violence? No, but are they doing like fraud and embezzlement? Probably. So it is very possible for people to come out, but there's some people they are what they are. They have no intentions of moving out of the family business, and that is crime. And in a way of just like without judgment and looking at charts, I understand looking at the chart because the person and how they're born and their ancestry is that very much so that. I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. As far as in talent, it is very possible to get a group. If you start looking at charts of a group of family, because sometimes I have read charts for multiple members of a same family. They can also be. They usually tend to be born with a similar placement. I know this sounds weird, but it's almost like they inherit a placement. So it goes from one person into the next. So the mother has this placement, and then the son has the placement, and then the sister has some variant of the placement. How strong the placement depends. It's very possible to have varying amounts of strengths of the placements. So one child or one sibling can do with the ability much stronger than the other one. Okay? Also, I want y'all to think about this as a video game to a certain extent. Okay? Very possible to acquire more skills, right? Especially if the person in the chart has a high propensity for learning things really, really quickly, right? So it's very possible, like, okay, let's say we'll imagine a baby is born, right? And I want y'all to think about it like this. A baby's born, his name is Joshua. Little Joshua is now on earth, right? Will be kind of like a video game when you watch that, or like when you read novels or stories that are like isekai, kind of like Inuyasha, where they like jump into these different worlds and getting these abilities. Okay, Joshua, skill acquired, Song of Heaven. What Song of Heaven? Being able to write songs freely without any help of anyone else. Okay, great. Weakness. The pauper's curse. What is the pauper's curse? Not being able to do business well. So, okay, we know that Joshua naturally has a skill ability to write a song. What he does not have is business acumen. Maybe through the generational pushing and or how people are having kids, because it's more than one bloodline coming together. Joshua has a sister. The sister has the business acumen of the father, but Joshua has the singing ability of the mother. Where you see both of them in the chart, true, but are they like at the same strength level? No. And that could be possible too. I think when people, and this also goes to inheritances, when parents knowingly pick children and you're looking at me and I'm looking at you and you're picking a child that's really not built for that because you got a favorite and you know they're probably going to squander or something, that does not make sense. But that happens as well.
And that can lead into nepotism too. Because remember,
Yes.
based off the definition of nepotism, then we're going to get into the super chat with self-made. If you are a family and you're pushing people who have merit and skill, it's not nepotism. They have the merit and the skill. They're not letting people down in society with having the positions that they have, because this is a trade that your family has not only capitalized on, but you have the skills. Like what Course asks, yes, if if you eventually produce a family member who is not skilled based or merit based,
Yes.
and you put them in the position, then it's nepotism.
That's nepotism.
So if you don't have the skills or the merit, it's nepotism. So for example, if there's a family of actors and actresses and all of them are really damn good from B plus to A plus, then it's not a
I
family.
think an
of,
example is like the Baldwins. Like it's multiple children in the Baldwin family that acts.
then it's not a nepotism situation. The moment, this is why Elliot Grange is nepotism, because he's not good at his job over there at Atlantic Records right now. The moment you put your child or a family member in a position of power and they do not have the skill set for it,
It was weaker.
then
It's very weak, or like it's like getting beat up.
if they don't have the merit, if they don't have the skill set, then it becomes nepotism
I think
based
when
off
they're,
of definition.
I think like poor performances and also just not improving too. You know, you got a lot of situations where people, they're not necessarily improving. But the original Nepo babies were out of the mafia when it concerns the music and movie industry.
Yeah.
You know, people have to understand that, you know, because people are like, "Yo, why is this person on screen?" But then you find out who their daddies are and they're dons of certain
Prince
families.
is making up a great is making a great point there. People focus more on the artist more so. It's like, bro, if someone is like Prodigy. Prodigy came from a family of jazz musicians and all this other stuff. He is a talented MC. He's in Mobb Deep, not a Nepo baby. Whitney Houston, one of the greatest singers of all time, not a Nepo baby. Even if you don't like the personality of someone, if you clearly see that they have a musical talent and they have a skill set and it comes from a family bloodline, they're not a Nepo. The moment someone who is not skilled, who is not merit based, get into a position of power, then it becomes nepotism.
Yeah. Also, shouts out to Self-Made once again says, you all see the pipelines when an industry gets popular and has power, usually within the next generation through economic. I guess there's a typo. Oh, economically, they start to conglomerate to make the positions for the wealthy only. That is true, but that's human history, though.
Become an issue.
Yeah, humans on this planet have always had gatekeeping, civil war dynamics in all tribes, all country. No group is exclusive. Jews, blacks, the Amazonians. No group is as special from that because that's just the dynamics of humans. We do enjoy hierarchy. We're comfortable with structure. We're comfortable with systems. And we're comfortable with challenging those systems and structures and breaking them down and then building our own or rebuilding them if they've been lost over time. So, yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's what you're seeing even in independent media. You're seeing the struggle right there of people trying to implement a standard and even in some cases placing Nepo babies out there as well, or at least having them over Silicon Valley tech firms, because most of the giants that come out of Silicon Valley, all Nepo babies. Elon Musk, Sam Altman. I can go through the list of them. Peter Thiel.
I agree
they're all Nepo babies.
I agree with those terminologies for Nepo babies because I don't see them being talented. I feel they're making the world worse, and Elon just keeps stealing from people. So,
a super Nepo baby on steroids.
So just so again, because I read the definition earlier, if you are skilled based and you get a position, you're not a Nepo baby. If you don't have the skill for the position they put you in, then you are and your family puts you in that position, then you are a Nepo baby. So the Wayne brothers would not be Nepos because they were all talented.
Yeah.
So they're comedians. They showed products where they funny, whether they were comedic actors or TV shows or even stand up with screenwriting. So
comedy is a family trade for them.
So they're not a nepotism with that set. I don't know about the next generation, but
it's funny you said
that set. None of them are nepos. They all are gifted and talented, and that's what you're supposed to do. But if the next generation becomes less skilled, then that becomes nepotism.
I think it was only one of the children that are overtly in front of the camera, but I think the next generation of Wayne's family, I think Damon said some of them want to do that. Him being tied to Marvel killed his public notoriety and buzz, because he was definitely having a run with film after film after film. He was winning his awards. People were very interested. Still a great, fantastic actor. I actually want to check out the Mother movie that's coming out. He did say he trained. Mahershala Ali said he trained rigorously for the role of Blade. And because they canceled it, he had to take these new skills for his new film that's coming out. He says, "Well, I'm gonna put them to use in some new film." So he did say early on his next film would be overtly action. Look, Kevin Feige is trying to say that, look, I just goofed. But, Cindy and I, we made the joke. We said clearly the writing's on the wall when Wesley Snipes came back. And he didn't have Just for Men hair dye in his hair. It was Blade with gray hair. And he said, "There's only one Blade." I said, come on, nigga. Like, why would you say that? And there's supposed to be Blade in development, because that's breaking the fourth wall in the manner that it also shits on the potential upcoming Mahershala Ali-led version of Blade. So I think I've told Simba, I said, look, I think they're finding a way to just dump Mahershala Ali. Somebody said they want to go in a different direction, or they may not like him personally. That happens a lot. But I just think at this point in time, they didn't want to continue on specifically with Mahershala Ali, because they're still floating around other people for the role of Blade, or how they may want to put Blade somewhere else. Want to introduce him as a side character somewhere else. But I do feel they did not for whatever reason, they did not want a Mahershala Ali led Blade.
No, they did not. They were hating on Mahershala, who's a damn good actor, and he deserved better. And this is what I mean. He's like a A+ actor who has so many credentials. It's actually very disrespectful how Disney and Marvel handled him. Also, real quick, because people are still on the Nepo thing, real quick. They said, do we think, are the Smiths children, are they Nepo babies? It depends.
Oh, you could go first.
It depends on if they're talented. I think Will Smith, for example, his niece or cousin in the industry who's a rapper.
Is that Sierra? I think that's his niece.
Huh?
Is that Tierra Whack?
Yeah, Tierra Whack.
That's his niece.
She's not a Nepo baby because she's skillful. She's talented. And again, the Nepo is only if you're not skilled or talented. What do you think about the Smith children? I guess that's a good question. Are they talented? Do you feel
they have a skill? I think, Jaden actually can act, and he's shown that, like, he can handle like a project and actually be able to act.
He's had more films that showed he could act than not. That's true. I would say 90% so far in his catalog.
I think for Willow, she has shown that she can at least curate an artistic project. And it reached some type of popularity. Now, granted, a lot of it is when she was younger. But I think some of her work, I think it was like, I can't remember the song. I think somebody had me listening to it. I think it was like, what is it, The Fourth Dimension, or Wait a Minute, whatever the name of the song. I kept hearing that thing play everywhere, child. I don't know why. But no, she's shown that she's able to at least create a song or be able to do something. So again, when we're talking about Nepo babies, they are literally like
no talent,
none. Like like when they say like the skill set jumped them, it did. Now they might have more skills leaning from the other side, because remember, there's two people having a baby. So it's not just
Dom,
one side.
Dom said JD's a terrible rapper.
Well, he didn't get that skill. Again, skills vary.
Well,
skills
you know what?
vary. I don't think he's horrible
I
at
like
rapping,
him as
but
an
I think
actor.
his sister's music is better than
Yeah,
his.
I like him as an actor more than a rapper. Although sometimes he has people on his projects that are that Flamingo Pink album, whatever that Pink album was, that one wasn't bad though. But
No,
Dom, you made me laugh. with
Shouts
that
out to
one.
Dom. I will say the only thing I'll say is that I do think when I listen to like artistic direction, he Jaden is a more abstract rapper than his father. Will Smith is. There's no double entendre in his rhymes. He couples things very well. Like when he gets on the rhyming rain, like what was it? Did he do like a freestyle over the lean back instrumental or something? But also, you got to keep in mind like it's because it's questionable because there's parts of Will Smith's catalog that he has a questionable pen game as well. Who has exactly penned for him. He's had Nas in the studio. This is hip hop knowledge. This is on record. So, but I will say, as far as the two of them go, I kind of put them like lyrically in the same space. I just think Jaden's a lot more abstract, moody. He got the crow shit going on with the blonde hair. It kind of bends the language and sexuality a lot of times when he's rapping too. So sometimes he's kind of low key on the other end of Tyler the Creator. So I've listened to his albums. The daughter Willow, she can sing, and she has grown as an artist. Where she, when they had her come out, she sounded just like Rihanna. I Whip My Hair. I think at the time though. Will Smith and the Smiths, both of them flexed their power, and they did get their placement on the radio. And then when the girl said she didn't want to do the Whip My Hair, and she cut her hair, and that was
it is a lot. She's a child,
and she kind of went on this indie run situation. Now I do think
Dom said that Willow's music plays a lot on the radio in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, she sounded like Rihanna.
Yeah, but no, that's why I say like when we talk about talentless, y'all, I literally mean like zero, like nothing, also varying skill set too.
Right. Yeah.
So like it's possible to have children or family members that have varying amounts of a skill set in various degrees in various different ways, but they could still have it. But that's what we mean by like they have nothing, and this is like a skill that you inherit from the family, because the family becomes the network, and their skill set that they pass down to you is a way for you to make money. Because remember, traditionally, college is like a very unique concept of going somewhere for trades. Most of the time people will apprentice, and then they will get the learning ability through the trade. So they will be an apprentice baker, apprentice blacksmith, apprentice seamstress, and they would learn
the
these
Moors
skills.
changed that. The Moors were the ones who did the universities. And then even what's interesting, the Ottoman Empire used to train the warring nations, the warring countries they went to war with. So they'll capture someone and be like, and teach them different skills. But what's so funny about it, when some of them escaped, they went and used those skills against them.
Well, there is a thing in like, there's this new animation called, I think it's called Jadwar, and it's just talk about like, I think it's called Jadwar, the Witch of the Stars, and it talks about this girl in like this, if I remember correctly, I forgot which country it's based off of, but she's like in a Middle Eastern country or whatever. But neither here nor there. It talks about like in the show they want to train her. She's a slave. They wanted her to be trained so she can be basically like a high level slave that could be used in like, I guess, think diplomatic places. But the more skill you have, the more of an expensive worker or slave that you can be. Now, one of the first comments you have in the animation, and this came out this animation season, was no, it's for us basically in the Muslim belief that we have to educate people, we have to teach them skill and trade. And so y'all can see this going back to like the Enlightenment period of Islam, where they would go and have like be educated, and not just on their own religion but other religions too. So if y'all want to look that up, you can look up Islam Enlightenment period, and you'll see a whole history of them studying different things and being educated on different things.
Also, guys, because of the buffering, we're gonna just close it down here, but we appreciate y'all We'll have also a part 2 to Yaya and Mahershala, but I'll just leave it off here, and Prince and B-More will leave off with their opinion too. Yaya and Mahershala are some damn good actors. They are treating actors who have less skills than Yaya and Mahershala with more respect in Disney, and I'm not fucking with it.
B-More, did you want to say?
Oh, I just think like people who I feel like would probably never buy any merchandise or anything, and or people who just don't read properties, I think they're just getting too much of a say so. I think when Marvel was really good was when it first started. I mean, yeah, we had people on the internet, but they didn't have so much of a say so. I think we've started to get into things where too many people are having a say so. People who pretending to be stuff that they're not. Like I was showing Prince, like it was this one guy who was Indian pretending to be a black woman, and it was this other guy who was pretending to be like everybody act lying, saying they're from places, and or they just trolling and they have nothing to do. I just feel like the Marvel franchise and how they trying to branch this stuff out, I feel like they really kind of just lost the plot a little bit. People aren't really interested, and it's boring. And then when people ask them for stuff, they don't get it. Like when people asked for the Black Widow movie, they didn't give it to them, and then they want to throw it at the end like, here. And we was like, girl, what? I just feel like I don't know what's going on with Feige. I don't know what's going on with this. I think y'all are just losing the plot because people wanted to see Blade. People wanted to see Wonder Man. I just don't know what y'all are doing. And then for Wesley Snipes to come out here and start tanking stuff, I just think that's just weird behavior. As a matter of fact, how old is he? What, 60 something?
Yeah, I think Wesley Snipes is in his 60s. Yeah, it was a weird
it's
moment.
It's just weird.
Yeah. I don't know. It falls in line with what they normally do. You know, especially with although they haven't offered their political opinion, but usually with black actors, look, they cut them out. Very quickly. Isaiah Washington, possibly the strongest actor off of Grey's Anatomy, expendable. Yaya, which Wonder Man, from what I saw, I didn't get a chance to. I don't get a chance to check out too many properties, but from what I saw with the reviews online, and people seemed like they was excited, and they had announced that there was a season 2, and then they said, oh, by the way, it's canceled, and then they had Mahershala Ali in limbo for 7 years. I'm gonna be honest with you all. I mean, it just kind of runs the gambit of what it is. And remember, they had some heads at Marvel too that were having personal issues directly with actors. So it's just the same thing. I don't know how far they're gonna go with it, but I personally feel from what I've been reading about Ali, I just think they're gonna try to do something different. They don't want him in the role, and because if they wanted him in there, we would have already had it out already. They didn't want him in there for whatever reasons, and then they're going to try to move in a different direction. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be wrapping it up here. We appreciate you guys so much. You guys take care. Peace.
Peace.
Bye.